Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Um. Hey guys, Tarke here, joined by Ghazzy, Raiz, and CuteDog to once again talk about Summoners Racing, the current state of XP, and level 100. Before we get into it, yes, Ziggy isn't here again. He's taking some time away from Pee-wee. So to make up for that, Ghazzy is going to do the rest of the show in an Australian accent, so we should be completely and utterly fine. So before we get into that, what has everyone been up to? Side games, whatever. Step in, Mr. Ghazzy D.
G'day, hey, it's Gassy here.
Oh,
I can't do that, sorry.
No, fuck it, that was terrible.
no.
It was worth a shot, though. Well, I've been mostly spending my time in the global 6666 channel and then being in different people's maps resummoning my specters. That's, well, pretty much everything I've been doing since last podcast. Literally, that's all I've been doing. But jokes aside, I've been pushing a Spectre build, going through the database of pretty much all Spectres available in the game with the new information. And well, we're limited. So I went back to the original style and actually found new interest in the coruscating elixir low-life approach, which made me want to have a UI update with the flask duration. So overall, it's just been painful playing the last week. That's what I've been doing, literally.
How many times have you died because of the no core skating?
3 times whilst mapping, and then 6 times whilst resummoning specters in a desecrate map with poison clouds. I go in and then I completely forget that there's poison.
Jesus, I thought it was like a one-time thing.
That sounds pretty Dan's game. So, Raiz, you're doing that in your next SSF push, right? Coruscating Elixir build? Let's
Sure.
go.
I was thinking about, because like this ladder, there was this, I think Taiwanese guy, and he was doing like RF, but I looked at his skill tree and I was like, what is he playing exactly? Because he doesn't have any region nodes or anything. But then it turned out he was streaming, and he literally was playing RF with like 0 region nodes, so he's keeping everything up with potions and just like blasting through maps. It was the craziest thing. I was thinking about doing something like that. I feel it's equally as suicidal. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, dude, he's going like 3 times as fast as you. He's gonna catch up." I'm like, he is never making it past 95. Like, there's no way ever. And yeah, he died. He died once, then he died a second time. But it was whatever. But I've been playing Caustic Arrow, trying it out. A lot of people are like, play Caustic Arrow, so I'm like, okay, I'll try it out. Finally talked myself into it because I played it like until 98 or something last ladder.
Hmm.
And this time I'm playing it with a Raider because it got like a bunch of buffs and it's got like a little bit different scaling and everything. So it was a big pick between Raider and Trickster because Trickster gets the damage and like a little bit of other stuff. And like there's less mana problems, I guess. And then Raider is just pure speed because you get evasion, so that works for Queen of the Forest. You get so much attack speed. And I ended up going with the Raider just for the hell of it, just to be fast. But I thought that I'm not going to have enough damage. It has enough damage. Like, Caustic Arrow is pretty nuts
Yeah,
right
good.
now.
Are
It's
you
got
also
great
using,
AoE, great
Blight with it?
damage. What's up?
Are you using Blight with it as well?
Yeah, I mean, I just got to like, I just started mapping like all up to tier 5s and stuff, but it's literally with no gear, so I don't have a +3 bow. I'm not using an empower. I'm using like efficacy. For the single target, I have like a weapon swap bow with essence drain, and then also because I need HP and evasion on everything for the Queen of the Forest because it's just so zoom zoom. That's a lot of fun. I'm on like 70,000 evasion or something, which isn't that much, but it goes pretty fast. It goes too fast even, I would say. And I have like a Queen of the Forest, and I'm setting up the whole like 5 or 6 off-color, Varici, Queen of
Ooh.
the Forest. So currently I only have like a 4-link Blight in my chest piece, and that's working out pretty okay. I don't know, surprisingly good to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, hopefully I'll take it to endgame. Hopefully I'll put some gear into it, and yeah, we'll see how it turns out. But it's surprisingly good. And leveling with Caustic Arrow, really good. I did not expect that because it ramps up so fast.
Yeah,
Big
I
surprise
actually
for me.
did a Trickster Corsair at the start of the league, and it was really good for leveling with the changes. They added
Yeah.
like 200 flat base damage for anyone who doesn't know. They really crazy buffed it.
Mm.
And I did it as Trickster, and I actually, when I was done with the character, I just got kind of bored of it. I kind of wish I had gone Raider for it.
Mm.
Since, like, whenever I've played it in the past, it's one of those, it's a really nice build if you're just doing, like, tier 10s or, like, just chaining really easy maps, like 10s or 11s, and just running through everything. And
Yeah.
for that, like, Raider must be amazing for it.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, even for leveling with like, because I had a little bit of a problem with single target because you get projectile nodes and that doesn't affect blight or anything if you start off Raider. If you start off Trickster and you get all the damage from the whatever killer it is, something killer, hired killer, I can't remember.
Swift Killer?
Swift killer, yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's yeah, it must be just blasting. But even like
Mm.
this, it was really strong. And the single target wasn't bad. It was just not the best.
What about you, CuteDog?
I'm playing a lot of Wander. I tried to Raider Wander after my level 100 Pathfinder Wander. It's like the same thing. It's a little bit faster actually, but has like different issues. And now I'm playing a Summoner. I'm swapping in my time with between mapping with the Wander and killing bosses like a Glacial Cascade Miner with a Necromancer, Vis Mortis, the whole Spectre thing. I'm doing Solar Guards just because they're easier to get. Like, it's pretty easy to roll the Solar Fanatics if you just, like, spam a bunch of Guardian maps with, like, Scour Alks. And it's pretty damn fun. I thought it wouldn't be that fun, but it's been very relaxing, like, doing, like, Chayula breaches, any other breaches at Xeres. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good build. I'm impressed. It looks cool,
Surprised
too.
you're playing it. To be
Yeah,
honest.
I've played it a lot actually.
Yeah.
On the Solar Guards, when they do the the like the giant beam, you're like, oh, so good.
I think I've actually got some footage of that in the background.
Nice.
So nice to hear that you're enjoying the Summoner play.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I think it's the
It's
same for
like-
everybody. Like once you try it, it's just fun. But
Yeah,
people
exactly.
have that weird mindset about this. I want to do everything myself. You are. Like
Yeah, look at that.
Chill.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
the whole argument about Summoners not being a lazy spec where you don't do anything. It's once you
yeah,
play
you press a
Summoner,
lot of buttons. Yeah. But yeah, it's like it's like passive and active, right? Like you're not really doing anything, but when you like a whole setup, you're always like pressing something. It's kind of cool. It feels good. It feels like you're actually fighting mobs, which is something you don't get when you play like Wander.
Mm.
I was actually wanted to ask, like, because I've seen you mapping on your Wander quite a lot recently, like, so you're swapping between the two. Like, how does it feel to go directly from playing Summoner into Wander and, like, vice versa?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, obviously, like for the mapping, the Wander's like you press a couple buttons and the entire screen and a half like disappears sometimes. But switching between it has been like very smooth. Like I'm doing a lot of Edziri's just like to try to farm up my own mortal pieces and stuff. And there's no like it's like really smooth going between the two. I thought it wouldn't be, but I think actually Summoner is like more fun right now. I don't know if it's because I've never played Summoner or because it's just like it is actually more fun, but I'm enjoying it a lot more than Wander. But I have played, like I said, played Wander 100. I might take another 100 Wander. So, yeah, this
How about
is really I highly recommend.
yeah, that's because like a lot of summoners play hardcore, and last time you had your whole hardcore trip, which ended abruptly from what I've seen.
Was, and around level 30 something, but I was unlucky in the lab. But I don't know. I think if like the Summoner, I don't. Yeah, I did like some Shaper with it. Like the second day I played it, did some Mortal at Zulu. The Mortal at Zulu killed two of my no, not Wickerman, two of my Solar Guards and my Animate Guardian. So I like kind of want to stay away from that. So I just do my Glacial Cascade for that. But the other content is like I can definitely see it being good for hardcore. Like I have like 4 1,000 life and like 1.5k ES. And if you play carefully and like you know what you're doing, you probably shouldn't really die. It's a good build. It's very nice.
Okay. So no more hardcore.
Maybe no more hardcore. Maybe some more hardcore. Hardcore's pretty fun.
Do you think you'd try out hardcore in the races coming up or no?
I don't even know if I'll participate. It depends what they are, right? Like, we don't have info on them. If they're cool, I'll probably participate. You know, why not? It's still a lot of time left in the league. You gotta try something new.
And you've got a lot of practice with racing now. Too.
Oh yeah. I'm racing god now.
Yep.
But yeah, before we get into like the main topics, how did you guys feel about the 8-week thing? Was it like 8 weeks, or was it like, oh fuck no, 8 weeks?
Wait,
What's
8 weeks
8 week
until
thing?
next league, you mean?
Yeah, we got 8 more weeks of Harvey. Feels good, man. I actually quite like it because I'm enjoying the current league.
Dude, it's less than that. It's
Yeah,
When they
December
did
they
their
1st,
said
when
a
they
right?
did their
long time ago.
announcement with like there'll be new races, that was 8 weeks. So maybe 7 now.
Okay.
If that was a week ago. That wasn't that long ago they did the announcement.
Yeah, but didn't they say that they're gonna launch it in December anyway? So
Yeah,
it's
they
like
said December
Yeah.
1st is what they're aiming
I was
for,
expecting it like first week December, maybe second week at most.
Well,
Wait, you didn't know?
right? In the latest post, it says we're aiming for the new expansion December 1st, right?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
So
Okay, 6 weeks.
that's
Alright.
coming up. That is coming up. I'm so hyped.
Wait, but then did they clarify at all when the races are supposed to start? And
They said
I don't
that,
think
like,
they've said exactly when.
They did
okay.
talk about having 1 4-week event or 2 2 weeks or 4 1 weeks. So from my understanding, it was going to be 1 month before the league ends. So that's in 2 weeks from now. So another 2 weeks of Harby, and then these events or one event will transpire.
They
From
said
what-
4 1 weeks?
No, they gave the examples, but they hadn't decided.
Okay.
I might be incorrect on that, but I do believe
4
that's
1
correct.
weeks would be amazing. Also because I'm not gonna be here for like second week of next month, so I don't know.
Dang.
Yeah, it's
Gee.
annoying when I had the Mayhem last league. I was going away like 2 days into it, and I was just like, oh, fuck that event then. It's really
Yeah.
annoying when it's like.
Wait, but that was the good one or the bad
That
one?
was the good one. That was the really good
Oh
one.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. I blew myself up at like 97 or 6 to detonate dead in a shore. It was my last shore,
I
and I
remember
had
that.
like 60 preset of them just to do it in the next one. And I was like, it's beyond. Just remember it's beyond. Don't die to the boss. Don't die to the boss. Don't die to fucking hell. Why did I do that?
Yeah, I actually really remember that. You see it kill it, then you see the, boop, and
Yeah, I was like instantly. I was like, I knew it. I don't. My brain. Where is it? It was awful.
yeah.
It's still a really fun event. If they do that again, that would be a ton of fun, I think.
I'm currently chaining Shaped Shores with Beyond, and every time I see the hand raise, I actually just think of your rip. It's brilliant. It's just like I see the hand. It's you got like a half-second track with like kind of going up as they do the DD,
Yeah.
and I just see that. Oh.
Well, for me, it was especially fucked because I was like, whatever happens, I'm just gonna kill it. Like, I'll just kill it before it does anything, and then it fucking spawned with a haste aura. I'm just like, why? I just like barely didn't get it. Oh man.
I mean, that's I like how a lot of people are scared of specifically detonate dead when it comes to these massive farm areas like the breaches when they're beyond spawns and whatnot. But as a summoner, that you're completely safe from that because as soon as you see there's a lot of corpses and you know there's beyond there, you just hold down your flesh offering key and then you're fine at all times.
Yeah.
It's really really nice.
Yeah, my support's actually, he fitted a Vol DD into his build, so that whenever we killed Shore Boss, he just presses Vol DD just to be safe, because we're chaining Beyond. But before we actually, also, the volatile sound, I don't know how much you guys have played recently, is the best thing they've ever done. It's so now whenever a volatile spawns, it makes like a noise. So when you're like
Damn.
just chaining through maps, you just hear this. And because I mostly play duo, it's great because we both hear it, and then it's like, okay, it's on you, it's on me, it's on you. And when you like play duo with loads of random shit going on, like just doing like double Beyond Shores is already like really hectic. But when you can hear the, it's without it, I probably would have ripped the volatile before like the thing ending. It's huge. If they could make the same noises like DD and like bearers and stuff, I think that's the way that you can go without having to just like gutting the mechanic. Like it's crazy how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah, but it's like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, so your only indicator is sounds now? What if somebody doesn't use headphones? What if somebody can't hear? Like, how dare you, GGG? And they're just like, whoa, we're sorry. I don't know. It's been happening too much. But yeah, more like indicators of things happening visually or sound, like that's really good. I've been like advocating that for such a long time. Except for Noogie. Noogie's also like a huge we need to see more guy. So I would
But
really
not,
love that.
I saw you talk. Well, I think everyone has seen you talk a handful of times, right, about the UI stuffs and whatnot, which is also part of this whole being able to see things.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many easy ways to make visible effects. I mean, the MTX stuff does cover a lot of stuff on your character by itself, but I mean, just an exclamation mark, a yellow exclamation mark above your character when you have a volatile chasing you would be enough for everyone to see it. I mean, there are very easy ways for them to do it, like have some sort of targeting icon or whatever, and that'll be sorted. And I mean, same thing with flash durations and buffs and debuffs. They're all plugged together in one line rather than splitting them. Just splitting them up in two lines would have solved the issues. But then again, all of these things have, 1,000 different solutions and, 1,000 more different opinions on how it should be sorted. So I'm not sure how they're going to do it or if they're going to do it. But then we saw this. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to mention it's just like a really weird thing because I've been playing Grim Dawn for the first time, and the reason why I never wanted to play Grim Dawn is because it just looks like a mess. Like, and apparently it turns out it's because there's basically every character has like 100 cast on attack things, and even I now have like just it looks like I have 3 abilities now because I finally spec'd into something, but it's just like a fucking everything's blowing up, and when you're looking at it, it looks like a total mess, but when you're playing it, it's like very apparent what's going on, and like the UI is spread out, and like your buffs are separate from your debuffs, and like in that way, I feel PoE could learn a lot from that game. Sorry, what were you saying?
No. It's just the whole idea of stuff's not being visible, and we had tools available for it. For those of you who don't know, I mean, Reddit is blowing up as usual. But basically, we have the Mercury Trade Oversteer. I think we talked about it last podcast, right?
Yeah.
CuteDog?
Yeah.
And the only official statement is that they're discussing it, and this has been a topic since it was released, which was quite some time ago before that podcast, and we still haven't seen a official statement. So I did contact them myself. Email wise, and I contacted them I made a Reddit post about it as well, because we have from many years of experience seen that Reddit gets shit done, sadly. So I made a Reddit post about it as well, and I'm not sure if we're going to see a comment about it, but it's a tool that I actually read up more about it. They can't trace it, so the only part of the community that is in a risk of getting shit for using it would be streamers. And we have solutions around that as well, making sure that we only have game capture and whatnot, so we don't show the monitor capture and whatnot. But honestly, when it comes to that point, I think they really need to work on the actual UI problems, like you said yourself about how messy Grim Dawn looks. And yes, it is really messy. But despite that, you still have 100% check of what's going on, what debuff do you have, how are you supposed to play, because you actually have those visibly, delivered to you in a really good way. So I'm hoping that the expansion will actually bring these fixes in one way or another.
It's interesting. It's interesting to me why they haven't like embraced stuff like this, like the Mercury stuff. Honestly, they can't detect it. They can't fight it. The number one thread on Reddit right now is the mandatory every week. I messaged GGG about attaching a popsicle to my keyboard, and they said it's not allowed. Blah blah blah. Fucking 300 pages of comments, all that stuff, and it's just like they should really just embrace this stuff. Like who are they defending here? Like competitive play in Path of Exile? Nobody really cares about that. Like it's really weird that they don't want people to have an advantage, but then they can't trace it and they won't release their own add-ons. I think they're better off just embracing it at this point.
Yeah, like the whole thing's really weird, and I've been joking a lot recently about it, because I had some like recent hostile stuff. So I'm like, oh shit, what if I get like an exoskeleton? Is that like against terms of service? Because I have an unfair advantage. But like even like if you just look at like the no hands Ken dude with his like crazy setup which allows him to play, following popsicle stick logic, you'd be like, well, you know, that's an unfair advantage because he doesn't have to use his hands for the flasks, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that stuff is kind of just like, just let us do it, and if it gets a big issue, just really slap on it, you know.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
I don't know. I'm sure whenever it does happen, CuteDog will have a series of very informative YouTube guides on how to correctly set up the chicken button and
Popsicle.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see it being like what's it called? Like user fatigue. Like if you have it up, it would help at first, but I think you would just, depending on how big it is, right? And how big you want to make it on your screen, you would just, your eyes would just like forget it. That's how it was in WoW. I mean, I remember when PvP, that you'd have like all these like things on your screen with weak auras and stuff, and you're like, oh, it's so amazing at first, but then after, you know, a few weeks of play, you wouldn't see any of the auras anymore. So
Really?
Yeah.
It
That
depends,
wasn't like
where
that for
you're
me at
though.
all.
really?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
the
was
sound stuff.
more
I remember
taking
using
advantage of that.
the announcer where it was like Incarnation Kitty and like all these other announcements and stuff. The sound stuff was good, but the visual stuff, I don't know. For me, I just like ignore everything. But I think it is like something that they should embrace. I mean, Mercury Trade is used by like, you know, God knows how many people. The Overseer thing is like it's no different from like, you know, you hit your cooldown and then you hit a stopwatch that's like on your desk or something. You know, like it's not that big a deal.
I don't know if I agree. I mean, like the things that is mostly needed with the buffs and debuffs is, you know, some people want it because they can utilize and optimize their usage of Val Haste, for example, and Val Clarity and whatnot. But that's not the main reason or main problem, in my opinion. I mean, the coruscating elixir is, you know, you die if you don't have it up and you get touched by chaos damage. That is crucial. That is for your own character survival. So using coruscating elixir with the current state in a hardcore league, nah, I don't think I'll ever do that. And same thing with bleeds, for example. You pop a bleed flask, and then you realize that you know you're out of charges. You get another bleed effect. You see that your damage is going down. You click it because you never look at the debuff. You just see your HP is going down for an unknown reason. Oh, it's got to be bleed. Let's push my bleed flask. That's how I do it. And if that's out of charge, you don't see that or anything, and just keep running because I stopped watching my HP because I know that I just clicked the remove bleed flask. But since I don't see the debuff, that it's still there, I keep running, and I might die for that reason. I mean, those are the main issues in my opinion about this specific topic.
I don't know. I mean, one thing which would be amazing is if we could all use Overseer and fully customize it, we then get to see the custom UI threads, because nothing was more hilarious than WoW when you see your mate's budget as fuck system and he's got like 15 different DBMs on the screen. Like, the amount of fun you can have just when like people start sending old messages. I remember last time I was playing WoW, this dude like just showed us his screen real quick. He's like, oh, I can't see what's going on in this fight, and it's like he's got this much of the screen available and then 18 different DPS markers, and you're like, what are you doing, bro? So I would love to see some of like the really full-blown retard, like, okay, this is my 27 coruscating elixir trackers, and then I've got my custom things down here. So
I think they're really scared of stuff like that. That's like the only reason why they haven't embraced it. I think they're afraid of like shit on the screen. They've always been very much about the visual aspect of things, and like Ghazzy mentioned, like just an exclamation mark. I don't know. It seemed like they really, when they implemented the little like life mana bar
yeah, they were
underneath
really
the
against
character,
that at first.
yeah, it seemed like they were really like no. And also the weird part is like when they released when PoE for the longest time, a lot of people don't remember this, but PoE for the longest time, for like years actually, maybe even like 2 years since it was available to play, didn't have any health bars for enemy mobs. Like I think they implemented it in, like when they released the game in Nemesis, in Onslaught, I'm
think,
pretty
like,
sure
we
they
had-
still didn't. Maybe towards the end of Onslaught, but that was already like open beta was already out for like 8 months or 10 months, and then Onslaught was like 6 or something.
I think it was around the time that like Dominus came out or something. It was like around
Yeah,
that
Nemesis.
sort of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, I remember because for a really long time people were complaining that why can't we have health bars above monsters' heads, and they kept saying it goes against the aesthetic of the game. And,
Yeah.
like, Chris said, we don't want it goes against the aesthetic. And because we kept complaining it, they were like, okay, fine, here you go. And that took all of closed beta, like, all of open beta. And since then, that's really all we've kind of gotten on that front that I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it did seem like the tiny health bar that they were like against. So I don't know if it's actually that hard for them to decide on. Like, can we do this? Can we not? Well, it's a
I don't
weird.
know. But I mean, GGD has always been good on listening to the community, in my opinion. Like they always take in the community's, at least the vocal part of the community's opinions in things they do for the most part. Even if it was better before than it is right now, they're still doing it. And I mean, for a company to do that, I think that's great. And that's, I guess, one of the main reasons why I personally believe that GGG is still the best gaming company that I've had since Blizzard North, before they outgrew themselves.
Whoa, whoa, dude.
Well, before the old timers, at least, not anymore.
Come on, man. I'm working
But,
on a Diablo 3 sponsorship here. Don't say stuff like this around me.
All right. But Diablo 3 is like a totally different game, so
Oh, it's separate.
okay. There you go, Raiz. That's just for you. So I mean, but it's something that, like, when a game company grows, they will always be, not able to cater to everyone the bigger the game grows, and that's always going to be the case. But what I think is really annoying is how, I mentioned it before as well, is how the subreddit has a bigger leverage on the game than the forum threads. I mean, even with the whole spectre stuff that went on in the drama on Reddit, like pretty much every page on the front page was about spectres and desecrate. And Chris makes a comment on Reddit, but there was no response from the GGG staff on the actual thread on the website. It feels like they're prioritizing Reddit in so many ways that it's getting a bit annoying. And like, Reddit really does get shit done. With the more people that complains about something, the more changes will come, such as the HP bar, because it wasn't getting implemented, and then enough people complain for a long period of time, and then they actually get the shit done. And I don't know if that's a good thing for the company in general to have it that way. That as the more people that bitch about something, the more of a prioritizing topic it will be for them to fix.
I mean, the thing that you need to remember with that, though, because I really hate the current state of the Reddit, and I've actually had a conversation with, like, some mods, and they're not too happy with it either. But the thing you need to remember is, from a business point of view, if someone's new to the game, one of the first things they'll look at is the Reddit, right? So if the first thing which happens is when you search PoE is like PoE, like Path of Exile, PoE Reddit, PoE Trade, you click on it, and then the first like 5 posts are all about how shit this one thing in the game is. From a marketing point of view, that's terrible, right? So I can completely understand why someone like Chris, and Chris is amazing when it comes to marketing. Like, he's really clever with that shit. Go, you know what? I probably should have this really negative attitude be one of the first things you see when someone goes to research Path of Exile. Whereas with the forums, like, the forums could be utilized better, but it's very rare that when you've never played a game before that you go, okay, I've never played this game before. Let's go on these janky ass fucking forums, 20 pages deep, on this really fucking obscure summoner thread, read the 37 different pages, and then be like, oh, actually, from reading this, I now think I won't play this game. Whereas with Reddit, that's like a much more of a prominent issue. So
Yeah, but they can't fight that, I don't think. Like, it's a month into the league, Reddit just like, it's a 180. It's like the first month, oh my god, this is amazing, best game, thank you so much, grinding your games. 2 months into the league, it's just, fuck this game, why can't you fucking do that, do this? Like, oh my god. So I don't know, they kind of can't fight that. And that's like a really positive thing for PoE, the seasons, but at the same time, it gets them a lot of shit. But then again, at that point, like, how many people are actually trying out the game and testing things out? Like, it really only matters in that big boom. But then again, when Reddit, it's at its worst right before a league release. So that's when people are looking into getting into the game. So it's like, shit. I don't know, they kind of messed up like that.
Yeah. But also one other thing which I really like about that is that I like how you get like the unpopular opinions, which like will be mentioned on like podcasts like this and stuff, and everyone's like, "Oh, these fucking elitist retards! Oh, fuck this!" But then you get to that like that last month of the league, it's like a front page of Reddit is all the shit Raiz has been complaining about for like the last month, and you're just like, but
I don't complain anymore. I'm okay with everything.
you see,
I don't
Cute
know.
Dog, you've made such a great change on Raiz, man. Like he
Yeah.
starts this podcast with you, now he's like the nicest guy in the world, yeah.
It's true.
Raiz,
I don't.
Raiz has always been a nice guy. I used
Yeah.
to watch Raiz before I started streaming. I was like, man, this guy's fucking asshole. He's such an asshole. He's like just so like grumpy, but then like I didn't, cause I think it was because like I thought you were grumpy. I'll never watch for more than a few minutes, and then like I was like, oh, he's not actually like that grumpy. It's just like his voice, and he's just like sometimes sounds annoyed, but he's actually having like, a really good time with the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I like this guy.
This like especially comes through in like Grim Dawn, because like my strategy for Grim Dawn, because I made this mistake many times where I would like clickbait viewers on PoE and then jump over to another game, and then people would be like, "Wow, fucking, what is this? Where's my PoE?" La la la. So I would now like try to get as little viewers as possible, stream like at a completely random time, not start with anything else, have like my title for Grim Dawn, stream title was ARPG God tries Grim Dawn for the first time. Everybody was shit talking me in every chat. I was like, yes, don't fucking come here. And that's like a really good attitude. But then because of that, I can be like super mega sarcastic on my stream. And then you always have that one guy who just like doesn't get it. And he's just like,
Yeah.
this guy's a fucking douche. It was great.
Yeah. I basically live in a permanent state of that, and I had a 15-minute conversation with some dude today, and he was like, "Yo, are you British?" I'm like, "No." I was like, "Let's do what CuteDog does. Let's fuck with him a little bit." I'm like, "No, actually, I'm Australian, but I'm currently living in America." He's like, "Really, dude? I never would have guessed it." And everyone's like, "Look at this guy, man!" And it keeps going. Eventually, I'm like, "Okay, like by the way, the worst is so my friend Kane, who I often play with." Because he was like rank 5 Sunder player, a lot of people like whisper him from PB Trade, and they're like, "What bandits?" He always said he was playing Sunday, so he always says, "Oh, Alira." It's like, "All right, cheers, bro," and then we have to go after. Okay, it wasn't actually Alira. Like, guys, come on now. Like,
that's like the really bad part. I've done that with Grim Dawn now too, where somebody is like says something super obvious. It's like, dude, if your HP drops to 0, you actually die. So if you're playing on hardcore, that's kind of like a big deal. I'm like, oh, dude, thank you so much for the information. I really appreciate it. And then like for him, it's like I'm enabling him to give me more and more of shit like this, and he feels like he's doing something good. It gets to a point where I'm just like, bro, okay, wait, no.
Like, am I the only one that actually wants to, give proper information to the viewers? Like, this is how it is. Am I the
fuck
only
off.
one?
No, Ghazzy. Like
No,
none of
I
this.
do that-
None of this bullshit. Yeah.
If it's like the first time I've seen that question, like first 3 times I've seen a question, then yeah. But if somebody asks me for the 100th time why doesn't added fire increase the damage of my incinerate, then I'm just like, it's because your dad left you. Like it just
Oh, gee.
it's yeah, it gets way bad.
Yeah. It's even worse when like you have shit on screen, because for my current build I've got loads of stuff on screen. So it's because so it's a Thief's Torment Mind Over Matter build. Mr. Broadcaster, you haven't got any auras on. Mr. Broadcaster, one of your ring slots is disabled. Hi, you've got an unset ring with a red gem, and I think you've leveled it up, and you haven't got enough strength now. So just so you know, I'm like, oh, cheers, bro, thanks, man. Let me just get some more strength nodes real quick. Oh, no worries, by the way. By the way, just so you know, Thief's Torment isn't actually that good of an item, and it actually disables your other ring slots. And it's like, oh, cheers, and you're just like, fuck. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to skin my other ring to another Thief's Torment just to fuck with people. They're like, whoa, how are you equipping 2 Thief's Torment at once? Oh, like fucking next level shit, game. But
Jesus Christ.
so anyway, to get into actual topics, so, and I'm not saying we're why it happened. Like, it could be raw coincidence, but if you don't know, chat. So our last episode was about summoners. And then basically the next day, GGG fixes summoners. So, we'll take our check. But anyway, how did we find the, like, player-based reaction to the summoner improvements, since one of the big things we did talk about last time was you guys saying, to be honest, it would probably only take like one tiny patch note and everyone would play summoners. I remember you said that a lot, Raiz. Like, oh, it's just he needs like the 6% more damage. So did you find that was interesting that suddenly this like one change, now everyone's like, I want to be a fucking summoner, bro?
Yeah, but this was like a big change.
It
Like,
was
I
pretty
feel
big,
like,
to be fair.
because this is like what everybody always complained about, and like even if it wouldn't like affect, because like not that there are builds that aren't affected by basically what happened is specters are staying now, right? They're persistent. But what they also did that now has changed, so don't panic, was that they fixed a bug with like desecrate, so you couldn't create specters actively anymore with your desecrate if you already had them, which was like a neat summoner trick that everybody's been using for a while. And so like even like that, it doesn't affect that many builds because some builds just have specters that are literally immortal, or so many builds have specters that just never die because they never do content in which they can die. Like specters really only, like good specters only really die to like what bleeds, like really big bleeds, and that's it really. I don't know. I've never, yeah.
Flame blast,
So
maybe? That's Yuri.
Ash balls with hard
yeah,
mods.
if you do, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, Ash Bowl's good. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah, I
messed
mean,
up my golems a lot. There was always the ash balls would get my golems when I was playing my golem character.
Even with Purity of Lightning, but generally it's just like Uber Theory, Shaper if you're really bad, and some of the Guardians, depending on the mods, they're in a risk of dying. But if you have proper aura setup, you can avoid that to the most degree, at least.
Freaking Guardian. I hate that shit. I
It's the
remember when
Minotaur.
Guardian was released, I was like, this is the coolest concept ever. And then it died one time to like Canyon boss, and I'm just like, never again. Then I kept using it because I'm like, I'm not gonna let it die. Yeah. Then you had to like log out or remove your gem to like save him. But yeah, this was like a pretty major change, I think. Because this is the one thing that everybody was complaining about. And I feel like now that I think about it, compared to the last episode when I said like mines feel slightly better, that's probably something that in my mind is like a small change, but to a lot of people that's what they've been always hearing, like mines are clunky. Specters go away. Like this is annoying. So when they hear something like that, they're like, okay, this is the time to try it.
Mhm.
Also, have to remember there's like the game crashes, right? If your game crashes and you lose your specters, then it's like, nope. And my game crashed a lot. Like my game's been crashing, well, less so with the last couple patches, but this league overall, it's been so many just random crashes in beachheads, in maps with a lot of particles. So I think for a lot of people, that's like you don't want to be constantly summoning your specters.
Yeah, and I think that's the smoothest part when after the first patch now. The Desecrate buff is not coming till next week. But the smoothest part was when I actually did get one crash. I just logged in, I summoned my Stone Golem and went back into the map. I didn't do anything else. It was so beautiful. Like the feeling that all of that hassle and all of that shit was gone. It's the best feeling ever.
And then my Spectre died, and I wanted to kill myself. So you finished that story.
Yeah. No, but I mean, my Spectre has only died versus Minotaur Stonefall because I fucked up. But if I don't fuck up, it's fine. Other than that, it's been Uber Theory and Ash Balls in a Gorge map. Pretty, I think it was triple damage modded, I think. So that's the only times I've actually lost Spectres, and those are tier 17 Spectres.
Yeah, but they're implementing both things. They listened to the community feedback, and apparently next week, and to anybody who's maybe watching this on YouTube, you should be able to use the Desecrate trick again, I guess.
It's gonna be nice.
Yeah, but I think it's extremely buffed now. I think that
Really?
like the whole patch itself, like if we're just going to talk about before the Desecrate buff is being implemented, I think that the community, like sorry, Tarke, you asked about the general reaction from the community, and I think that like a lot of reactions from the community was really unjustified and pretty overkill. Because without the Desecrate being there, it's a situation where the specters were significantly buffed for running maps, for actually leveling and speeding through maps. Because you could get yourself tier 15 plus specters, 16 to 17, doesn't matter, and then you could go into like a shape strand or a shape whatever or gorge maps. You know, you can do really hard sextant crafted maps, and your specters would be in a very, very small risk of dying because they did no longer scale down and they would stay in that high tier scaling. So that allowed us to actually do that type of farming much more reliably without losing specters unless you completely fucked up. For example, Ash balls, you need to have the convocation ready, not aggressively, but to bring them out of the Breach Lord's balls if they get stuck in that. That's the only time you need to worry. So I think that the negative feedback was kind of unjustified because it was a really good buff for specters. The only problem was and the only nerf with this patch was for the sake of doing endgame content, such as the Guardians, such as the Uber Siri, and Shaper if you're not playing properly. Those were the only times that this was actually a nerf, because it would be a horrible, horrible situation to get them back, which opted for the whole global channel sharing for Spectres that opened up as well. But I don't know. I know Uberlead had a few comments about that as well on the forum, and thinking that you lose the whole sense of progression when you were playing, especially solo self-found. You could get your campaign level specters, and for example, Solar Guards, which I've been doing mostly, could do up to tier 10, tier 11 maps at a decent clear speed from level 59 specters. So I mean, it's
Really?
fine. Absolutely.
I disagree. Like
Disagree.
that's this is the first time when I thought like Reddit is right. Like holy shit. And it was especially bad since like the top Reddit thread was you know how usually if somebody posts like a really angry comment, Reddit even Reddit is like, you're just immature. We're gonna remove you. That's why like people don't like Morse, because he says all the right things, but he says
Just
them in a
presents it in the
very
wrong way.
mean
Yeah.
manner, and people are just like, we won't have you calling us doo-doo heads. And this thread was literally like, GGG is doo-doo head, stupid asshole, like literally that, and it was upvoted. It was like at the top of
Yeah.
Reddit, and I'm just
I remember
like,
that guy.
how did this happen? But I mean, is it really this bad? Like, holy shit. But then when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I mean, you can see that it's a serious situation. And I thought that, yeah, this change was pretty significant. I don't really get the whole progression thing. And like
Yeah,
also just like, I think it depends on the Spectre, because like early level Wickerman, when I was trying them out now, they really did not feel good. On like higher maps, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Maybe if you're like more invested into specters, but before I always felt like specters the coolness of them came from the fact that like even some non-summoner builds, you could just pick up a specter and it would kind of feel okay. Well, now, yeah. But I mean, it really doesn't matter because they're changing it. But like, what do you mean by the comments from Uber with like scaling and the sense of progression?
I don't know it by heart, so I can try to find it. But basically, it was what it does is that with the Desecrate buff now, it will grant us a situation where it's so easy to get specters. And to be fair, if you do a specter build, it is very, very cheap to do. Like it's not hard. You don't have to invest much to get it going. And with the possibility to always have the tier of specters at the highest tier you've ever done with that character, persistent for that matter as well, will now warrant nerfs instead. And that might be good or bad for the community. They might nerf what they should be nerfing, like Tuklahoma Vanguard's actual damage, or they're going to make it easier on themselves by, for example, nerfing Soul Weaver, or nerfing all Spectres, or nerfing the Spectre Gem, which will hurt all the
Really?
other Spectres.
You think they would nerf because of this?
I
Like
don't think so personally, because they haven't touched Elemental Bleed Flurry, which is only a boss killing stuff, and they've shown for many years now that they don't care if a build can completely trivialize a boss content. But if the build can do that and clear fast, really, really, really fast, then they'll actually look into it. And I think that's fine personally. But like I said, this is just what I believe that the Uber Elite wanted to bring back. I have his comment right here. He made a post on the Desecrate thread, and he wrote, let's see, This is a quote. I was sort of expecting this change to stay and people to adapt to using inhabited mods, which, for that matter, little side note, did not actually guarantee the mods because they only took the local pool from a global pool, which had the availability to spawn inspectors you wanted. Long story short. Anyways, continuing the quote. And inhabited mods being buffed to always spawn certain mobs. That's not correct. I'm continuing, but this is probably better for Spectre diversity and wanting to try weird Spectre builds, especially those that aren't covered by inhabited mods. So basically, this is the comment that was made on the Desecrate table, and from what I was told from people that watch his stream as well, talking about this, I think that a lot of people have the same or similar opinion about the whole idea of feeling that progression, because now with the currency investment you need to do a Spectre build, there's like a couple of chaos in and you can get higher tier Spectres, you can walk through maps. That's what I'm doing with my build right now. I'm literally running through the maps and not doing anything more than a Flesh Offering and the Coruscating Elixir and just keep running. That's basically what I'm doing. Whilst other people like myself, my opinion about it is to push and emphasize the whole idea of being able to test new Spectres, have a mix of Spectres and all these things that we weren't able to do because of this horrendous summoning process, and the fact that the quality of life was the whole purpose of these changes, which is actually getting sorted by the Desecrate buff. And I would rather see them balance things if needed than to go back to how it was or how it is right now prior to the Desecrate buff.
Out of interest, CuteDog, since you're kind of like the perfect case study for this because you started playing like when did you start making it? Was it right after this change or right before?
I made the Witch right before, and I leveled the Witch as a Wander in preparation for the patch. So I'm playing it for a couple days now.
Like from someone who's like just come in new to it, how are you finding the whole like Spectre thing? Out of interest, like getting the Spectre.
So the first time I switched over, right, from like I was an elemental, switched over to necromancer, and I rolled a solar fanatics on a chimera, and I was like, yes, it's time. And I go in, I like put my spell echo, my desecrate, and I must have been desecrating for like 15 minutes, and there's like nothing, right? I was like, oh shit, does it not actually guarantee it? And someone was like, yeah, it's an uncommon mob, so even if you have solar fanatics, there might not be any solar guards. So I was like in this solar fanatics chimera, just like desecrating. I was like, is this really what a new player has to go through to get their Spectres? And then I had luckily I had 2 more T16s rolled with fanatics, and I went in there, and then the next one I instantly got one. I was like, oh, okay. So it's like, and I put bloodlines on it to put more monsters in there, to hopefully get a solar guard. But then once you have it in the map, it's actually really easy to get. And then the first shaper that I did with the character, it just so happened to have solar guards in there as well. I was like, oh, okay. So it's not so bad, but I can see a new player not knowing how it works because there's no information out there. To know that you need solar fanatics, how are you supposed to know that, right? And so that was kind of stressful. But afterwards, it wasn't that bad. It's just when they die, it's you just feel kind of bad because you have to roll it, or you have to go to the trade channel and then wait and hope that you get it in a decent amount of time, and then you gotta take out your spell echo, and then you gotta do all this weird. So I think the change coming this week will be really nice. I think it's worth it though. The hassle is definitely worth it. Once you get them, once you get the high level Spectres, they just kill everything, and it's you don't have to worry about much. So
the thing is that's really weird to me to hear about even the thought that they would nerf it. Because it's summoners are really strong for soul self-found, but you can't balance the game around soul self-found. I mean, let's be serious. They're pretty good for hardcore because they're kind of cheap, but with how many new players there are right now, I don't even think hardcore is 20% of the community anymore. So CuteDog, do you think that summoners in their current state with the Spectre changes and the Desecrate, do you think they can ever be at a point where it's this is too fast? Because to me, there's no freaking way that it can be a tier 1 or even a mid tier 2 build.
It doesn't do either thing the fastest. Off stream, I was trying out Brightbeak because someone was like, hey, did you know that if you teleport if you shield charge 2 screens away, your Spectres will just automatically be there, right? So you're shield charging, they're killing the screen behind you, and they teleport you, and they kill that screen, and so on and so forth. And I put it on, and I was like, yeah, but then there's like some stragglers sometimes, and sometimes it's like issues. So it's not the fastest map clear by far. It's not the smoothest map clear by far. It is one of the easiest because you don't need to worry about much. And then like you go into bosses, and it's not the fastest boss killer. Like you can look at things like miners and things like that, and you're like, whoa. You look at Blade Flurry, and you're like, okay, this is like nowhere close to that speed. And there's the annoyance of like it's a very active playstyle, right? You can't just like sit in Guardian, or yeah, you can't sit in like certain Guardians and Shaper and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna let them tank beams and bubbles and purple balls phases. You can't do that. And if they die, then you have like added. So there's a lot of annoyances for if you want to do all content. So I don't think they should nerf it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
especially
thinking, yeah.
considering like the current state of like bossing. If you're not doing the silly attack things, you're doing like silly scorcher things. Like I killed Minnow this league, and it was on my scorching rare. This was actually mildly amusing. So the first time I tried it, I actually died because I tried to dodge the mechanics. I then like was like, what? Like my character should be perfect to do this. So then I ripped a bunch of like Guardian sets to softcore, and I just stood there on the second time and killed it in like 20 seconds. I was just like, oh okay, you just stand still and do this, and it falls over. So like when you can do that, it's just kind of like, and then you look at the random summoner bro, like okay, I've spent 47 minutes casting Desecrate. I'm fully ascended glowy brain. Let's fucking go. I've got flesh offering, and I'm casting EE, and you know it's just like let him do his thing, you know.
There's something special about Flesh Offering. I really like that mechanic where it's I when I first started playing, I was doing like Aziri and stuff. I was like, oh man, what's the range on this Flesh Offering? This is crazy. And I was like, man, I'm gonna try to find the radius of this thing. And someone's like, dude, it's just like global. You just cast it. And I was like, oh. And then so it's really nice like when you know like doing like the Desecrate if you don't have corpses, and doing the Flesh Offering, and then like seeing how fast your character goes and seeing how fast your specters go. That's like it's good when like you do something and you're like, oh, I feel the weight of like that play style, you know. So I really like that. And like the convocate, like when I did the shaper and I was like, oh, I have to convocate in the purple bubble phase. That was like really cool, and stuff like that. So it's a rewarding play style, you know. I like it a lot.
I agree.
So, like one thing which I find kind of interesting though, before we talk about like post Desecrate thing, is kind of the thought process that GG had, because they made their like forum thread or their post or manifesto like why we changed Desecrate and now why we're reverting the change. And I find it kind of interesting. They were kind of like, well, it was a bug, so we fixed the bug. And that's the one thing which I find kind of weird, that they would make the persistent specters be like, yep, we're gonna fix the Desecrate bug, and then not think about the gameplay that would cause. Because do you think they actually wanted people to do the whole I'm gonna roll the map, spam cast Desecrate for 20 minutes? Like, what do you think that that's the bit that I don't understand. That's the one bit I'm kind of like, did they not think maybe that would be kind of annoying? Like,
to put it this way, there has been a lot of discussion and comments around GGG's balance Q&A team doesn't play Path of Exile, right? That's quite some time ago now, but not that far long ago actually. But it's been a topic, right? And I'm gonna quote Chris here. He wrote, "Community feedback has shown us that players found the prior behavior very important, so we are explicitly changing the formal behavior of Desecrate to," end of quote, to get the Desecrate to always spawn the specters you bring into map and the local monsters in there. So basically what he said is that the community feedback has shown us that players has found the prior behavior very important. That's a direct quote. So basically, things like this and many others are, you know, baseline, the foundation to the arguments that people have and that are questioning if GGG's balance team are actually playing the game. Because if they needed the community feedback to tell them that, you know, we use Desecrate to get higher tier specters, it doesn't feel like they actually played the game and knew about this till the community told them on every Reddit post.
But that's kind of tough, because like you've got different, like why would you run a bug fix through your QA? Right? Like that doesn't really make sense. We're removing a bug. Let's ask our players, right, the people who play for us, if this is okay. Like they would never do that in any situations. So I think it was just some QA guy that doesn't play the game, because why would bug fix guy who doesn't play the game, because why would he? I mean, he just types code, right?
Yeah.
and he just like just didn't wasn't communicated and just came off so freaking weird, like it
Mm.
did. I think it's just lost in translation. I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily them like trying to stick it to the community or them like intending something. It just kind of came off weird.
No, I agree on that, but I was just saying that things like this builds the foundation of for the people, so the people that actually do question if they play the game or not, which I think is kind of sad because it just gives them more fuel every time something like this happens. Because I don't think that comment, or I don't know if you want to call it a meme yet, but I mean it's going to be still sticking every time something like this happens. It will just pour more fuel on it. But I don't know. I feel that the bug fix was obviously needed since they did mention that the persistent specters caused issues with it, and they fixed the bug. And I mean, I'm fine with that, but it did put specters in a completely different situation than they will be early next week.
Yeah. Okay then. Well then, one thing, and in a way, I'm actually kind of happy that this whole stupid thing happened. Because from this you've come up with you've got the super active summoner Discord, and then you've got the global channel. Do you actually think long term this did good because it's brought this whole summoner community together just from how difficult it is to find the minions?
I think that if they would not have touched the Desecrate buff, that it would have been actually creating a scene for our summoner community, because we have a few really good summoner players. I mean, RSKT for one, to be fair, and then we have Carve, and we have the Uber Elite, and we have Leary, and we have the guy who made the Necronomicon, Matt, from Reddit as well. So I mean, we have a handful of people who are really good and talented, and well, most importantly, experienced, because we have a lot more summoner players and streamers and content creators nowadays. But I'm talking about the ones I know personally from experience that has played this for a long time. But those have been the to-go-to choices when you're asking about summoners and whatnot, but it hasn't really built up any community. I mean, my Discord server, yes, we have a lot of summoner players, but my Discord community is for everyone, for my stream and, everything we do in there. And I have build guides that are non-summoner builds, so it's not really a summoner-specific community in that sense. But before the Desert
Why would it be?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a blade flurry community. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then again, I mean, Summoners is a very wide genre, and I think that before the Desecrate was enabled, I felt that we were going to need an 820 channel for Spectres to make this smoother for everyone that wanted to play this. So I made the channel 666 until we noticed that there was a lot of people speaking French in the channel. So I was like, what the hell, guys, keep it English. We're trying to be nice here. And then I realized, because I do speak some French, that the guys, that was an unofficial French channel that we just invaded.
Oh.
So, I mean, sure, France is kind of used to getting invaded by now, I guess. But So there was a dude that, enlightened me about this. He was wielding his baguette, sipping on his bottle of champagne, and, kicked my ass out of there. So out of respect, we moved into the 66 channel instead. And I think that, that channel really created the first really big, organization of a summoner community, because we had a lot of people who were helping each other out. We're talking about some of the stuff. Everyone's going into different aspects, trying out different things, testing new specters. I mean, I wanted to test some Roa chargers, which was pretty cool, but cooldown's too long, but out of topic. And, we could all talk about this in this channel, have a channel where everyone's able to do these conversations without being able to use as another program, didn't have to be in a guild and whatnot, which is a simple global channel. So I think in that sense, it was really good, though early next week when the Desecrate bug is fixed, the channel will most likely die, like I just did in the footage for not clicking Coruscating Elixir.
See, because that's one thing though, is I was talking about this on stream yesterday, and I just to run it by you quick before we move on to the next thing. But so when I was playing WoW most recently in Legion, because we're kind of in the age of Discord, everything has a Discord server. It is amazing because each class has this is the class forum, and some of the discussion there is really good. And you obviously can't do it for this is the Whirling Blades forum. But I think it'd be kind of interesting to see if someone tried to set up a summoner Discord, a bow Discord, these kind of somewhat art decks. I genuinely think it'd be kind of cool. I think it would be kind of cool. And I don't know if that's just because I'm the kind of guy who likes old school elitist jerks, people wanking over if you actually do this one spec, it's 2% more damage. I don't know if that's just because I'm one of those kind of guys. I think that would maybe be really cool, and I don't know if it would ever happen. But like, dude,
I
Bo
don't know.
Discord. Oh.
I don't know. I mean, we did a lot of talking in the like the guys in the 6666 channel, the Summoner channel. I'm just gonna call it that. We talked to like a lot of people were in there talking about what's going to happen and whatnot, and I think that a lot of us wanted to keep the channel going like a Summoner community channel. But I'm not sure. Like a lot of people will leave it because it no longer serves the purpose it was designed for. And now it will only be for conversations about summoners, pretty much, and it will just be summoner player in it. So I'm not sure if it's going to stick around, but hopefully it will. But I'm not sure if class really will genre of builds like Mind Channel or Trap Channel or whatever. I don't think that's going to work in a game like an ARPG genre game.
Oh, you're right there, Raiz. I saw you had a funny.
That really got me. The both
Trap
Discord,
channel.
just your Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Fraser's good. He's got some dank memes. What's quite funny is he used to just shit talk me in my chat, but now that my Geo guys also start streaming, he now just shit talks me in his chat.
Right. But the thing is, I don't know. Something like this wouldn't really work for me. Like I wouldn't be interested, is because, like in WoW, rotations are so important. So like you're always got like different encounters, and based off of that, you've got like different rotations and different specs, and you do like different things. In PoE, it's kind of the same thing. Just like use your ability on this mob, it dies. Go to the next mob.
Yeah.
Like the mobs don't really put up much of a fight, therefore
Yeah.
you don't really change up your playstyle in a way. So I think if, maybe with the next expansion, with some changes to some champion mobs and whatnot, maybe some new bosses and some new maps, maybe something like that would be cool. But yeah, the mobs would actually have to put up a fight in like any way, then it would make more sense to me. And that would be a cool concept, yeah.
I just thought it was a cool idea. Maybe one day.
Don't get me
trap
wrong,
Discord.
like I do think it's cool because I myself in my guild was the warlock class leader at the age of 13, and everybody coming to me for advice, and me barely speaking English and telling him what to do was like a ton of fun, but that hasn't held up too well. It was good. Everybody was like, "Dude, how do you do so much damage on this fight?" I'm just like, "Well, I click buttons and what that is." They're like, "Wait, what are we supposed to do?" Well, you click this button and that, and then this one, and then you do damage. And then they come back a week later. They're like, "I did the same thing you did, and I only did half damage. Your gear is crazy." I'm just like, "No, I don't know. I think you're." And then I see him like running around a circle somewhere in the corner. I'm just like, "Okay." Sorry.
You make sure you keep up Curse of... I'm not good at accent, but like Curse of Agony. Curse of Agony, some shit.
Yeah, I had a permanent curse of agony on myself,
Yeah.
fucking being the class leader.
So, since you can probably agree that like long-term Summoner's in like a really good spot now, are there any other like Summoner changes you would like to see? Or is it like you're happy now because you were pissed last? Ignoring AI improvements, actual numbers, all the other ignoring all the actual things we want. Like,
Ignoring everything.
now,
Do you want any
Ghazzy?
changes? No.
Yeah, I'm happy then. I'm happy.
Ignoring the whole aspect of using summons. Do you want any changes to summons?
Yeah.
Thinking. Dude, I think specters should be able to attack while moving. That'd be sick. They follow you around and they can attack while moving.
Attack while moving, or like
Yeah.
you can cast Flesh Offering without an animation, so you're just running, and
Yeah.
you're just like casting it.
Yeah, it'd be another 2-point ascendancy.
No?
It'd be 50% less damage. All your skills and summons can do everything while moving.
Yeah,
Actually,
threshold. What if they added threshold jewels like that, where it's like for a
Cool.
specific thing, no animation, you can just cast it while moving?
Woo,
You're so
that'd be
brave.
hot.
I think there's one thing I'd like to see actually when it comes to summoners outside of the stuffs you took away from me, so I don't have anything else to say. I'd like to see them update the skill tree for summoners. There's like 2 or 3 different summoner builds. You can look at a tree, and then I can pretty much tell you this is that type of build by just looking at the tree when it comes to summoners. And basically the differences are a little bit more mini life for a handful of spectre summoner builds, and almost all, if not all, the minion builds for zombies, and then almost nothing when it comes to SRS. That's the 3 different options, and then
I
the
don't
differences.
know.
All the other
I don't know
differences
if
are
I agree with
defensive.
that either, because it's like, so summoners, what do summoners get on the skill tree? Well, they get like minion nodes and aura nodes. Everybody gets aura nodes, and then you compare it to like axes or something, you know? And at least with axes, if you're playing an axe build, you really only have one skill tree or two. It's like, do you play one hand and do you play two hand? With summoners, it's like you can go low life, you can go CI, you can go life, you can head down to strength, you can be like heavy aura investment, no aura investment.
Well,
I
now
don't
we're
know.
talking about defensive approaches. Now,
Oh,
like that's the differences between the trees. Is like, what's your defensive choice? Did you go for the Baron Life, or did you go for a hybrid or Might of Matter? Those would be the only differences between the builds. But we're so limited due to the placement. I mean, Aura builds have at least, well, it's not much, but at least one other cluster far down on the other side of the world where all the Sunder players are, where you can get some Aura stuff as well. So some Aura builds have different options, while some of the builds is like, you're going to be on the top side of the screen. There you're going to stay till you die. And that's it. And I'd like to see
but
some,
Baron builds go down.
Baron down.
And they
They
do
go
pick
do
up
that.
Champion of the Cause, some of them.
Exactly, but they completely remove, and that's one of the three different approaches where you go with the Baron approach, and then you want to go down there just because of the strength pickup and everything and all the life down there. But that's one of the three different setups, and then everything outside of that would only be differences in terms of defensive choices. But then again, if you go the Baron approaches, you're 99% certainly going with a pure life build. So
Yeah.
there's no differences in that genre more than maybe a few points. Some people prefer to go for the bloodless. Some people want the what's his face, chaos something, flesh, chaos resistant life node up at the top left corner. So I mean, the differences are very small, and we don't have many options in terms of what we can do with minions in general from the tree itself. And I'd like to see, more minion damage nodes, maybe down in the bottom right corner or something, because we have builds that utilizes dexterity. Now, we're not going to go in and talk too much about the the meme speaker's wreath, to be honest, or null's inclination, but there are those options. But when you play those, you're still going to be forced to move your ass up to the other side of the world, which doesn't, synchronize with that type of choice. So again, there's many situations where they could do more with a tree that allow the summoners to be more different to one another, because right now everyone pretty much looks the same in my opinion, and it's kind of dull, at least for me as a content creator, to make guides. I stopped making new guides pretty much because they all look the same. When I make a new spectre build, I copy paste the tree from the old one, change a few points, and then I optimize everything else. But I literally change a few points and I'm done.
I mean, to
That's
be
like-
fair though,
that's kinda
like
everything.
most build kind of
That's fair.
suffers from that at the moment. It's just like,
Yeah.
yo, so this is my like crit bow build. I had like last week, because I only played it, I had to like try and make each
Those,
build
like,
slightly
are-
different. I'm
oh.
like, okay, so like, so this one, guys, this one's a pathfinder, but this one's completely different. This one is a raider. Now, because it's a raider, I pick up the frenzy nodes first. But this one, are you ready? This one's like fucking crazy. I went like assassin for this one, so I take the bit at the start of Shadow, and I sometimes drop the bit at the start of Ranger. Like, I mixed it up. Like, these days I've actually been playing a lot of EO, so at least like there's some difference between like EO and crit trees, but so many builds are kind of like, oh wait, you took that 3-point cluster? You see, because I took that 3-point jewel, so like, can we have a 50-minute conversation about that 3-point jewel thing you took?
Yeah, but like the thing is, I remember when every AoE build looked the same. Like it was just basically go Templar, go Shadow, go through the Witch, pick up AoE, you're done, AoE build. And like they tried to change it up a couple times, and nothing really changed that like major behavior up until they actually changed AoE. And this is the same thing for bows. I mean, bows have been the same for like ever. And they're trying to change the skill trees by changing the nodes and the interactions of like projectiles with different things. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see like a major change to the skill tree because we haven't had that since
Yeah, when was the
Nemesis.
last
I
time?
don't know.
When was the last time we got a really big change? I mean, the Cyan Life
Ascendancy
Wheel.
maybe, but like
They
that wasn't
don't
really
like doing.
big.
They've said this multiple times. They don't like doing it because it bricks one person's build in standard.
Yeah.
I think the best way they can do it though is by just like if they just keep adding the big keynotes, because like elemental overload exists. You do actually get a lot of builds. Well, not a lot, but you get some builds now at least which route that way. Like a few people have played bow builds, and they route that way. Like Bob did it. You see, people like Bob, so I'm using him as an example, not me, because he'll just say, "Oh, Tarke, that's a bad bow build." Anyway, so like you go that way,
Yeah, but it's like take
Also,
3
like
more points to pick up elemental overload.
like the fizz to cold conversion shit they had to trees, stuff like that I really like, because that like it
Oh yeah,
promotes
that's
trees going that way. And that's actually like I made a video recently, I was saying how even though I think Biscos needs nerfing, I kind of like the fact that it exists, because some builds are now not wanting to run Zoth's blood to run Bisco, so now they're like trying to see how they can get Avatar of Fire, or how they can then get the fizz to cold nodes. So you're actually seeing like some like the old trees changing a little bit. But I think everyone suffers from that, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think that it would be good for the game to get a rework,
Oh,
and
100%.
it's refreshing,
yeah.
refreshing in general. And I mean, I think that they should add either generic mods or specific mods all over the tree, so that we get this whole idea of build diversity actually being increased. If they had a generic two anim mods up around which tree somewhere, like that would suddenly make it possible for that type of build to be in that side of the tree as well. I mean, just as a quick example without any actual thinking, because that sounds pretty stupid. But I mean, the idea of actually allowing builds to be all over the tree would increase the build's diversity around the game, the gameplay. But regarding the standard comment you made, they also did say that they're not going to make changes that will impact the economy of the game. Yet they implement items, currency, and then new tier 1 mods breaking mirror service items in the standard league side. I don't think that they've. I think they stopped giving a shit about standard league a long time ago when they started that. So I don't think that would be any reason as to why they would not do a skill tree change.
I think
They're
like
like
the best
it's
example
fucking
of going
standard.
against that would be like CI Val packs or like cast on crit changes. Like CuteDog's probably like a good person to ask, because I think Raiz Ghazzy would probably be all for change, whereas you're normally one of those guys, Cute, who actually kind of like, no, let me have the broken bullshit. How do you feel about the whole idea of doing vast like tree changes or whatever?
I don't know. I do remember the days when it was just like you get all the witch nodes, all the shadow crit, all the Templar AoE, and then that was done. Like if you're, especially when it was ES, it would be like the exact same skill tree for every character. It didn't like matter what spell you were choosing. If it was AoE, you had the exact same skill tree for spells and the exact same skill tree for attacks and stuff. That was kind of I mean, it was good to know that that's what you were working towards, right? And that was like the best. And now it's kind of like sometimes I look at the skill trees, like I look at my summoner skill tree, and I look at my new life-based cost breeze discharger, and I look at my wander. I'm like, what? Like, what is this skill tree? It's like so strange to me. I don't know if like changing the skill tree is good, because there's always going to be the most efficient thing, right? Like there's always going to be like, if you're playing this is the skill tree you go for this like best in slot items. And so I don't think that's like, I think the best changes that people probably don't even like are like threshold jewel changes, reworking like baseline of how certain skills work, ascendancies, new stuff that they can add in there. I think that is like how they have to go now, because someone's always going to figure out the best thing, right? It's not like, oh, I'm
That's the
so
thing.
smart, I figured out the skill tree. It's like, no, there's like two ways you could do this if you're life for ES. So
Yeah, the skill tree has always been kind of like that, where it's like, for a new player, yeah, there's a ton of decision making, and that's really complex. But like for people who have been playing it for a while, it's really only an illusion of a choice. Like, and there's no way of fighting that. Like that's always going to be the case, unless we're gonna have some like major other changes. But I agree with CuteDog that those changes would be the way to go about it, rather than messing with the skill tree, because it's just a never-ending struggle.
Yeah.
Never-ending battle.
I can get behind that. Like it's one of those things of like, from an idealistic point of view, yeah, there'd be like new balance patches like every week, but that's never gonna happen. Like if you had the constantly changing game, then sure, loads of changes on the tree and items would be great. But realistically, we'll get like a change once every like 3 months, maybe.
Yeah, but like
And
even then, it's like it breaks so much. Like
Exactly.
something might be like a minor change, but in this one interaction with this
Yeah.
one thing, it just like makes it completely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't really test all of that because it's just such a complex game.
So to like get on to the next topic then. So the current state of XP, and while this is kind of framed around level 100, I want it to not just be level 100 talk. So like how you think about the current XP game at the moment, since there was the mob changes and stuff. do you like? How do you guys feel about it? Like, CuteDog, you got 100 on a Wonder this league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Raiz, you did 100 with SSF. I'm like 98 in hardcore. Ghazzy, have you had any like high levels this league?
I play summoner, so like non-SRS summoner. So yeah, no, I don't give a fuck about that because it takes too long.
You don't really
I'm-
gain much from the levels from Summoner like you would on a Wander, though. So it's kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the SRS build is fine, but I mean, well, the concept build I'm working on again does need some tweaking. I've been going through a few things, and if I fix that, then sure, I could push it if I want to. But I honestly see no reason why I would bother doing it at the moment. It feels I don't see why I would bother because I don't gain much from doing it. I play because I enjoy playing it, and I guess that's why I'm playing summoner builds, or
See,
I'm doing that
It's kind of
because
interesting you say that because like, so that's been my mindset basically since I first started playing. Like people have like the whole time in streamers was like, oh, so Tarke, like, have you killed this? What level is this? What is? And I would say, oh yeah, no, like, but before this league, my highest was 94. I got bored. I like got it in a race event to get a demi. I won the demi, and then because there weren't any races, I never felt the need to push. And I'm very much like I like goals rewards, right? So it's like if I like challenge rewards, I'll do them that league. Most of the time I don't like them, so I just don't bother. So like this league I only got like 25 challenges or some shit because Harvey rewards eligible. So if there isn't like a big race on, normally I never push. The guy I play with, he was like, oh, I really want to get my support up. I really want to get my support up. Dude, I want to get my support to 100. You're fucking leveling with me. And I was like, fine. And then once it kind of became a goal to do it, it's changed my outlook on the game. And I'm actually enjoying this league way more than I would normally be at this point because that's where my goal's kind of at. And it's actually, for me, done a huge thing, right? And I think a lot of that also has to do with the fact that the current 100 grind isn't that crazy. Like when I first started playing, you couldn't get level 100 in the league. It was like the league would end and someone's like, oh shit, that dude's like 92. How the fuck did he do that? And as it's become easier to get 100 each league, you get these guys on Reddit like, oh, I think it's too easy now. You know, Havoc got it in 2 weeks and this is bullshit, mate. And what the fuck? But as someone who's like played the game for such a long period of time, and this being my first actual push, I actually think the current XP rate's really good. I don't know. What do you guys think who've like done 100s in previous leagues and stuff?
For me, it's like I used to be one of those people who was like, level 100 should take years, but it was only because like it's not rewarding. Like there's really no reward to like get to 100. You don't really develop your character further. Like 5 more skill points, grats. You don't like gain access to any sort of items or anything. You're just basically playing the game. So for me, it always made sense that level 100 was unreachable, because you would like that goal that you're talking about would always be there no matter what, because like there wouldn't be an end point to that, right? Like whenever you didn't have something to do in PoE, it's like, let me get 15% more EXP today. I'm level 87, and like that for me was exciting that it was just so far away. But like now that I've done the 100 push on SSF, and this was a harder, I would say, push than like a lot of the other leagues with the EXP changes and with the density changes. But it took me still on SSF, and sure, that takes a lot longer because if you compare it to the normal league, in the normal league they got it with a person trading for them, 2 supports and a wander. Gucci got it in what, 5 or 6 days? Well, for me it took 14 or 15 days of like playing 22 hours a day, you know, to the point where I like destroyed my hand and I couldn't play anymore and I needed time off, and it was awful. So in that way, yeah, it takes way too long, and I would imagine for the majority of the average players, even if they're playing on the trading league, like it will take them about this amount of time, which is pretty good. I mean, you know, it's like way over 100 hours. So
Yoji brought up a good point in chat. You get a yellow name.
Yeah, that's
in
the real
trade.
reason. That's the real reason I'm
true.
doing it.
Pretty
You caught me.
good.
That's why I'm doing it. I need that yellow name.
It's actually noticeable when they implement that. Like when you have items that are common and a lot of people are trading, it feels, at least from my experience with people I whisper as well. I whisper the guys with a yellow name because it feels like they're actually more active and will actually respond. So I whisper those dudes often first, so actually I can get my trade going because generally they do respond first. But I don't know. But also to note with that, it's enough that you have a level 100 character on your account. So if you do it one league, you're gonna have that yellow name all the time if you keep that character non-deleted in standard league later.
I should apply to currency, the currency shop too. That'd be really cool. Because then you know, like, this guy is not a bot, probably.
Yeah.
I always like it when you're buying
Doesn't matter,
currency.
but-
Like, that's like 3,000 chromes recently. Like, dude, this guy's clicking fast. This is beep boop. Yeah. But I don't know. And also, just since I saw Gucci like beachhead in chat. When I say the current XP rate, I wasn't really talking about beachhead because I find it absolutely mind-numbingly boring. I think from 97 to 98, I think I maybe did like 3 rotors, just because it makes my brain hurt. It's so fucking boring. Although, pro tip for anyone who is doing beachhead rotors, to make it feel not completely painful, you go all the way around, skip the final boss room, then once you've cleared the whole outside, you then do the boss room. And for some reason, it feels like a better map. It just feels more rewarding, because normally what most people do is they go around like halfway, then do the boss room, then do the last half. But finishing in the boss room, it feels better, and also in rotors people crash a lot. That way, if you crash, you miss less XP. I know Raiz is just like SSF or like.
No, it's more about the finishing in the boss room feels better, to be honest.
But I don't know, I think I'm getting. 97, I was getting 48 million an hour just in Shape Shore, which I think is pretty good.
What? Jesus Christ.
Is that good or is that bad, Raiz? Is that good?
That's really good. Compared in SSF, dude.
Yeah.
when you were running your best maps and shit, and this is on a top clearing build. When I was getting 10 mil, I was happy at 98 plus, to be honest.
But to be fair, what was funny though, because I was chatting to Kane, because he got his under this one, and I was like, yes, I've done the maths, Kane, and I think it will take us like 47 more hours to get from 98 to 100. He's like, fuck off. I'm like, no, but like we were getting this much. He's like, do you think I've got 2 full levels worth of Shape Shore? And I'm like, well, maybe. He's like, no, fuck off. By sextants. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Keith? Like, would you just like doing dunes and 11s and stuff, or?
I did mostly canyons and muddies and pools with 5 sextants, but I switched to beachheads. It crashed my computer a lot, and for the longest time, the LUT bot wasn't working for me. So what would happen is before the last few patches, if you crash, it keeps you in the game apparently, and you just get booty blasted. So at level 98, I died 7 times. So I lost 70% XP at 98, and at 99, I died 6 times. So 60% XP loss at 99 to game crashes. So like I was like, man, this really sucks. But like the XP, it was like not daunting because with 1 beachhead you get a little under 1% of your XP. So like 100 beachhead, that's like not that much at all, you know. So I was like, yeah, this is doable. It's fun.
What sort of XP were you getting in maps?
Oh man, in muddies and canyons you can do 20 mil if you're like paying attention. It's not that bad.
Is that 99 to 100?
99, yeah, level 99. But yeah, beachheads was like right under 1 XP, 1% XP per map, so that's like amazing, you know.
And here I'm sitting, enjoying my fast version of the Spectre build, doing 200,000 experience per hour.
200,000? What?
But that's level 91, 200k. But that's only 2 sextant gorge map. But still, that's
Gorge
what I
so
get from
low.
a Spectre build.
Wait, what?
I'm not joking. That's what you get.
No.
Or just some beachheads and like get that way up, just like sit on top of the Harbies.
Yeah, I'm actually saving Harvey the beachhead maps to I probably level having fun with the build till like 95, and if I'm gonna push, I'll hopefully have a stock of beachheads to do it if I want to. But as a spectre build, you don't push 100 as a spectre build.
Yeah.
Just so I like know what I'm in for, like how much is it gonna drop from like? Because I'm only like 2 bars into 98. I think I'm only like 10% in. It's like how bad is the 99 to 100 in comparison?
I
If
love
you're doing
99.
beachhead, it's fine, dude. It's
I'm
if
not
you
doing
do other
beachhead, like,
maps,
literally,
then
and also like it's one of those things of so it's my support who was the main guy who wanted to get 100, but because like I became part of the journey, I'm now invested in it. He ripped today, and this is fucking hilarious. It's like one of the best rips I've ever fucking seen. Because he also streams, we saw the clip from my point of view, and then we saw it from his point of view. So, okay, chat, for anyone who's here before the show, close your eyes and just, like, picture this with me, okay? So it's Shape Shore. There's all this, like, beyond shit going on. It's really spoopy. And then we bearers. And I'm like, bears, bears. He's like, I'm fine. He runs through the bears. Now, the thing you need to know about Kane is Kane has, like, chicken scripts for fingers. Like, this, if he, like, whiffs trouble, he's out. He's, like, logged. And he's like, I'm fine. And then you hear him clicking on Discord, and then you see him die. And I'm like, oh, shit. What's happened, bro? And I, like, someone clips it, they show it to me, and I'm watching, and I'm like, oh, okay. And he's off my screen, I can't see what happens. I then see it from his point of view. He runs through the bearers. The whole time he's spamming his lag art macro. It's not working. And he just face tanks this blue pack and dies. It's fucking beautiful. He's just like, he runs through all the mobs. Like, this is like the ultimate, oh, nice hardcore log out, by the way. And he's like so invested in trying to log out. He's just like running into all the mobs. And he just falls over. It's fucking beautiful.
Jesus Christ. Oh,
Yeah.
what can you do?
yeah.
Yeah, but to me, 98 is the worst level. I kind of don't want to say it because then it's gonna be in your head, Tarke.
No, that's fine.
'Cause
Like, I've got
this
like
is some-
ages left.
This
of
is
the
something
series.
somebody told to me, and ever since then, it's been stuck in my head.
It's what, like
It's
50%
that 98
or
is the
some
worst
shit.
level because you're like so close, but you're not really there.
Yeah.
Well, like 99, you have like a really clear vision
Yeah.
of like how much longer you're gonna take, but with 98, it's like you don't really know, and then there's one more level. Like, it's awful.
Hmm. That's that.
But I'm really, yeah.
I remember when I pushed my level 100 character in standard. That was quite some time ago, 3 or 4 years ago. That was when Palace 78 was the highest map as well. So we did rotations, and I clicked the one of the boxes which did a Val Ice Nova, one of the not Val Ice Nova, the Ice Nova boxes that critted, and everyone but me died in the entire party. And there was like everyone was 99.5 or something. It's devastating when you die those high levels.
Yeah, that was back when shit was hard still.
Yeah.
I never got a 100 in like the really, really hard days. My first 100 was in Talisman, which took a while because it wasn't during a race. It was just to make a point because people were like, well, you don't have a 100. I'm like, okay, I'll get a 100. So I got a 100, but even back then, I don't remember it being that awful because that was those were like the Vol Molten Shell and Chaos Beano times, I think. So that was like pretty okay.
Yeah. I know,
You'll be
that's
alright,
one thing-
Tarky.
Oh,
You have
God.
like so much time left in the league. It's
So much of
You're
your
gonna be
life
alright.
left. Don't
it's,
waste it away,
it's not
Tarky.
bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad, dude. Just don't die. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the
I mean,
one
you're gonna
thing,
make a
'cause
lot of money.
Yeah, because I'm doing it in hardcore. I'm getting like increasingly paranoid. I'm just like, I could get a little bit more life nodes. I could spec out these damage nodes. So like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I'm-
funny. It's funny how that works, huh? Like
Yeah.
when you're leveling, it's like, oh, let me just get some more damage. This 10% is gonna make all the difference. But then like once you're like, yeah, 95, 96, 97, it's like, you know what? This life node is looking a lot better than it was before. I think this is more efficient. It's like 2% life node for
Yeah.
50% damage.
Well, the thing which was funny with it though, so okay, so it's Mind Over Matter Bogold, and because of that, it only had like 5.1k HP and then like not even 2k mana up until like 94 or 95, and I was using a 6-link lionized vision, so I had like a 7-link with the pierce in it. And people were like, dude, just use like a combs and a 6-link bow. I'm like, dude, it's fine. I don't fucking need that shit. Fuck, I don't need that shit. Dude, I've got like 7k effective HP. And then at 97, I was like, path of builder, I put a combs on. Like, shit, I get like 1.4k life if I get that combs. Right, 6-link.
Yeah.
I 6-linked the first bow. You'd be proud of me, CuteDog. We threw the Val orb into it. It bricked. I then wanted to kill
Oof.
myself.
Dang.
I have 5 full stash tabs of bricked Lionized bows. So the one I've got right now, I'm like, it's fine. I don't need to corrupt it. I don't need that +1 arrow. It's fine. Like, it's not that big.
Oh my
It's
God.
not that deep.
Well,
Oh,
just
that
buy
reminds
one.
me.
Just
When
buy,
I-
dude. Okay, like this is the softcore player. Like, just buy one. It's like there aren't even any 6-link Lionize on PB Trade. I had to like make all my 6-link Lionize, and then let alone 6-link +1 Lionize. So now I'm now 6.9k life, 2k mana. So like I'm like feeling tanky now. But I was looking at that Biscos. Like if I dropped my Biscos for a Zophs, I'd get like 30% life. And then it's like, but Biscos, nah, fuck it, I'm keeping Biscos. Biscos are good. So,
Really?
yeah.
I'm curious, CuteDog, you got yourself +1 Vis Mortis as well now, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you
I bought mine.
You
Nah, I bought
bought
mine.
it. How much
I
did you pay?
tried.
You
30
broke like
exalts.
5, didn't you, or something?
30
I
exalts
bricked-
only?
Yeah, I bricked. I've 6-link like probably 15 to 20 Vis Mortises this league. I vaulted every single one of them. I bricked like 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them. So like not bad. I was able to sell the other ones on like the anticipation of the patch and stuff. And then I was like really trying to get the +1 or like +1 max resist would have been fine too, right? Because like Spectre's what? It's like 2% more of everything for another level, and then maybe like 3 or 4% more damage from the support gems if you get a +1. So it was like, nah, it's whatever. But I couldn't get it right. I was sick of like buying fusings. Because like once you buy like a few thousand fusings, it becomes like for that day it becomes almost impossible to buy.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I'll just buy one. So I searched, I put up a whoop, and this guy had one unlisted, and I was like, I want it. He's like, is there any other listed? And I was like, no. And he's like, offer. I was like, 30 exalts. He's like, yeah, sure. He's like instantly.
There is
invited.
one up for 100x.
Yeah, I was like, well, no, I'm sorry.
Wow.
His wasn't linked. I had to spend like close to 2,000 vols to color and link it, and 1,500
Oh.
views. So
Yeah,
yeah,
fuck
it was just a regular one.
I-
But overall, I it wasn't that expensive. Like maybe
Wait,
what?
30x for a +1 non-linked
Yeah.
Vis Mortis?
Yeah.
That seems insanely expensive.
Yeah, that seems
What?
like a lot.
it is expensive.
I mean, if you take the vol cost and the fusing cost, right, that would be like another 20 or 30 exalts. So I paid basically 60 exalts, 50, 60 exalts for a +1
Wait.
6-link.
But how much are Vis Mortis? Aren't they like nothing?
It's like 40. It's like 40 chaos for like a 6-socketed one.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought they're like literally nothing.
No,
Like, this
to-
is
to
a
be fair,
combination-
Raiz, they cost nothing, and then fucking CuteDog started buying them.
Right.
And I was trying to like fuck you. I was trying to sleep. This was like 3 or 4 days ago. I just finished streaming. I host my boy Kane. I'm like, I'll see what CuteDog's up to. And he's like, he was buying Vis Mortis, so all his fucking viewers are doing it as well. This is right before the summer patch. He's linking them, and he's like, oh, I've got like 600 views left. That's enough. I'll buy another one. You spent like 3 fucking hours trying to link this shit.
It was a long time.
It was so, and I was just like, I need to sleep, but he's gonna vol them all at the end, so I have to stay awake. And he's just
No,
like buying them, and you sunk like over 3,000 fuse into
Oh,
that
wow.
last one or some shit.
It was pretty bad. Yeah, I
You
lost
were buying
a
them
lot
like 7x worth of fuse. Nope, not enough. Buy another 7x worth, and I was
Yeah,
just like,
that was
fuck's
bad.
sake.
You know,
But, hey, it's all be worth
this
it
is
for
like
the
a-
+1.
This is like
Yeah,
a
the-
combination of my 2 worst nightmares, man. One was when I was Volar being Prism Eclipses for like some shitty cast on kill build like 3 years ago, and I would literally do like Prism 2 socket because I wanted 3 white sockets, and I kept getting 2, and it got to the point where I had like 2 white socket Prism Eclipses in, I think it was 4 different tabs, like 4 filled tabs, and then a total of like 7 or 8 full tabs of just Prism Eclipses. And then I never got it. I ended up buying it for like something ridiculous, like 50 chaos or something. And the last league, I tried to link a Zoph's bow, and I spent 11,000 fusings, didn't get it, and somebody on in my chat was like, why don't you just buy it? Like, what's wrong with you, retard? And like people would say that all over the thing, and I was like, no, I'm committed. I'm gonna get it now. Like, just because I'm unlucky, it doesn't mean that this is the wrong thing to do. Like, I shouldn't have to buy it. And then I checked the XYZ and it was like 200 chaos. I'm just like, Oh my god, no.
You know,
And I just bought it and it was awful. And then I full orbed it and it got +1 power charge too.
it's pretty funny. It's right before you got yours, CuteDog. I actually made my own +1 Vis Mortis. But the funny thing about it is I actually got between 20 and 30 Vis Mortises, non-socketed, non-linked, Val orbed them all. And I said that, yeah, I'm going to link and fuse anything I get that is +1 to max res or +1 gem level. So I did that and actually paid for the what's his face, the Val orbs and fusing. So it ended up with me costing, I think it was around 32 exalteds, approximately, from buying non-linked, non-fused, and then going in at it. But like 30x to buy a 6-link +1, that's pretty dope. But the funny thing about this is that specters barely scale from levels. So
Yeah.
I made some calculations on it. One white socket gives you a fuckload more damage than +1 gem level on the Vis Mortis. So it's actually completely wasted, but it's cool to have.
It's cool to have, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Wait,
when I saw
all
this
that
only
shit
one-
for +1 specters? It's
Yeah.
like 2% more damage.
Exactly. And a
Well,
white
it gives your
socket.
support. Actually, it gives your support gems 1% more on minion damage.
Mhm.
On what's other stuff? So, I don't know. Slower prod.
proc.
So actually, it's like 6% more damage.
It's really, really good.
Hey,
But
what
a
you
white
need to remember
socket-
though, that you're on forgetting, is that his specters having more levels doesn't that also give them more life?
Oh, yeah.
Which means that they're less aids because they don't die as much, and he hasn't got easy desecrate at the moment. So he was just planning ahead, you know.
Exactly. Now, the funny thing is that with a white socket, you can replace GMP for fire penetration because bosses get curse reductions. That fire penetration does so much versus bosses. So the white socket is valued so much higher than the +1 gem level.
Yep.
You can see he's like about to commit. He's just
Like,
like
the
shut
thing
the
is-
fuck up, Ghazzy.
shit like the thing is, shit like this used to make sense to me, but now it doesn't. Like, it used to really make sense, like min-maxing builds and like figuring things out and then getting that 2% damage increase, whatever, by putting in a lot of effort and a lot of currency. And it made sense to me because getting to 100 would like take you so long. But now you get to 90 in a day, you get 95 in another day, and you get 100 in like the third day or something. So like going through just spending millions and like getting all this currency and trading all day just to have like a 6% upgrade that won't do anything, like oof, it just doesn't, like,
Well, I
maybe for like a
mean-
shaper farmer or something.
For those of us
notice it
that
a lot
play
more in some
softcore.
builds than others, and also it's like a Sokol versus Arkle thing. Like that's the one
Yeah.
thing that I like about
Oh.
hashtag bow builds, by the way, is like you really feel the corruptions. Like getting additional arrow is fucking huge.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
so, like for my build, it's like have the helm enchant, have the right flask, have the corrupted quiver, have the corrupted bow. Like for that, it really feels huge, and that's why I like kept going for it.
I mean,
Most of
that's
it's like-
always- Sorry?
I was gonna say most of it is if you play softcore, you're gonna have a lot of money if you play as much as we do, and like it's doing no good sitting in your stash, right? So like to spend like 1% of your currency on a 2120 gem or something that's like it's like why not, you know? Especially if you have
Yeah.
like if you get all of them, like going from like if you have your set gear and you go from 20 to 2020 to 2120, you're not gonna notice that. But if you get everything to 2120 or 2023, it's like pretty good and you get all the best jewels. It's like feels good. You always resell it later, right?
Yeah, but you can't
Hmm.
do anything with it, right? Like,
No, not really.
it gives you like so little. It's
Yeah,
like-
but like, what else are you gonna do with your currency? You know?
Yeah,
It's like you
just
could
sit
get
there.
that, or you could like go gamble and lose like 400 ancient orbs like Ziz, and then you have nothing to show for it.
give it away, dude. Give it to the people.
Can't give it
But
away
I do
anymore.
that as well.
Actually, you can't give it away anymore.
Yeah, that's actually true. But off stream, I actually give shit away after the end of the league now. And if I miss anything that ends up in standard, I either stack
Whoa.
it in the guild stash or give it away. I
Wait,
don't have
but
any
you
use of
can't-
it.
You can't give it away on stream, but you can say that you give it away off stream.
You can
think
give
so?
anything away off stream because you're not getting the monetary possibilities
Aha, there we
at
go.
that time. That's
Exactly.
the RNG
Yeah.
right there.
Exactly. But I mean, I even gave away my my mirror service items in standard lately. I don't have any use of them. They're just rotting there, and they're summoner items. Nobody wants to mirror them anyways. So I just
Who
gave them
does
away.
that, Ghazzy? What the fuck? Who
Let's
gets
take 'em.
mirror-worthy summoner items? No.
Actually, my level 100 character, she's a witch, so she was worth 4,500 exalted, and I was the first streamer to do Hollow of the Grandmaster. I didn't even clear one wing. It was impossible for SRS to go through the block guys. So currency in some of the builds, it doesn't matter. But that's what we talked about before, how specifically the Spectre builds, it doesn't matter how much currency you put into the build. If we have a white socket, if you have a +1 Vis Mortis, the differences between smacking in 100x in your build and using, an ordinary budget that most people can do in a couple of days, the difference is almost not noticeable. You really don't see the difference between it. And that's also why a lot of people, including myself, will think that the Spectres with the Desecrate buff actually will be a rather insane buff to the genre of Spectre builds, because you don't need to invest that much to make them really, really, really good.
Someone in my chat was saying, like, yeah, you just make it with, like, 1520 C to start the league, and you're fine, right? But then again, like, how much of this is just hype for, like, there's so rarely a patch that just goes, here's one skill that we're just making better. That's just like, it's like the focus of that patch, right? That's very rare. So I think a lot of it's hype where people are like, well, if they're doing this, it must be good, so maybe I'll try it out, and then maybe it'll die down later.
So. Oh, that's one thing I did want to actually ask you, CuteDog. Since normally, like, when people say, oh, like, how cheap is it to make your build? Normally, like, my builds are kind of like only like 30 to 50x, not like fully dicked out corruption level. These days, I kind of have to be like, because without saying to like people, you can do it if you're not retarded and try and just copy my profile, right? Because I try and be like, well, if you know what you're doing, you can actually, you could do this build as a starter, but you need to like know how to transition. Like, you need to be able to go through the steps. What's the answer I should give them, CuteDog? Because you're the master of this.
What build?
Just like insert any like fully dicked out like 100x plus all the perfect corruptions build. Like when someone who's like, hi, I've never played Path of Exile before, can I do this as my starter build? What is the response I should give?
You give them the price of the starter items. So like Wander, it's like Ashes Mirror, Piscator's 5 Link Queen of the Forest. Bam, you're done, right? And then you upgrade from there. So it's like you give them like the absolute minimum necessary. So Spectres, what would it be? Like Vis Mortis, Bones of Uller. That's it, right? Maybe a Scourge is like 3 Chaos. I mean, like there's nothing. It's just so like, and then tell them to try it out and see how it feels for themselves. It's like I think so many people are just so scared of like messing up their character or having it not feel the right way when like they haven't even played it, right? So like just like make the character, see how it feels for you, watch some videos. Like lots of people ask you how much your build is worth. They don't like know what the build is. They haven't watched any videos, and it's like, dude, you just watch a video. It's like there's so many video guides on YouTube for every build that's like budget versions. So yeah.
But it's pretty funny. Like the only thing you really need to do with a Spectre build to make it faster, like a little bit niche approach, is the Rampage belts. Oh wow, 1 Alchemy Orb. That's very, very hard. And then you're done. And then you can try the build out, and it works really good.
The Rampage is for you or your Spectres?
Both.
It affects everyone.
Wait, your Spectres get the Rampage?
Yeah.
What?
Not the effects.
Ghazzy, I had an interesting question that you might know the answer to. So, since you are getting damage with Rampage, and your minions are getting damage with Rampage, and it's displayed as a separate stat on Rampage, do you get a combination of those two when you're using the Scourge Claw? See, I got that question the other day, and I was like, I am not sure. I think so, but I don't know.
To put it this way, the Scourge, like you're referring to the Rampage double stacking to you as player, because the minions are separate entities. They won't be affected. So the Scourge Claw makes so that increasing reduction to minion damage also affects you, right? What the stack does is provides you with increased minion movement speed and increase you with damage. And then there's a mod that says minions deals 2% increased damage. Rampage minions deals increased movement speed as well. So the minions get it. Basically, the Rampage has 2 separate buffs for each sequence. So movement speed is applied to you, and it's also movement speed to your minions, and the damage is applied to you and also to your minions. So according to the statistics from the wiki, for example, the Rampage and the wordings there, as well as the Scourge Clause, saying that increased and reductions to minion damage also affects you. The answer is yes, it should work unless there's something bugging there and whatnot. But yes, the Rampage stack should double stack to you. So if you're doing an attack build using Scourge Claw, then Rampage is absolutely insane for it, unless there's a bug not making it not work. But according to the wiki and everything, it should absolutely work.
Okay,
cool.
we need to... I know Ziggy's taking a break from PoE, but the second this ends, I'm fucking calling him, because if you remember when they removed double dipping, he's like, Tarke, there's no double dipping left. It's all gone. It's all gone. It fucking still exists. Fuck you.
Of course it exists. Like, double scaling is double dipping, mathematically speaking, anyway. It's like... I don't know. Like
Okay. So, to
Fuck
get
that
back...
conversation.
to get back onto, like, XP point of view, I'm guessing we're all going to say, like, Beachhead's just retarded XP, so that's probably not even worth talking about. But how do you feel about the... Does it need another XP nerf, would you say? Or not? And, like, with sextants and shit and, like, all of that Atlas-y wise for next league? Because we're getting the next expansion is probably going to be endgame focused, right? So if we were ever going to get these changes, we'd probably get them, like, coming up.
I like the current state of it.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
If you're, like, really dedicated, it can be really fast, but it really shows, like, the difference between the experienced players and the less experienced ones.
Mm. No, I agree with Raiz there.
I don't know. I could kind of see them keeping sextants as is, but the main thing which annoys me about sextants is the same thing which annoys me about shaping. And I think Yoji made a really good point about this earlier, like before Baeclast started, is with the way that shaping works, it promotes just doing the same thing over and over again. Because if you want to change maps, you've got to unshape the thing, go do excavation again, or whichever one it is, which tier. But then with sextant blocking, it's like that to 1,000. Because it's like, oh, I want to change from this to this. So I've got to unshape my map, redo it, then completely re-sextant block my atlas for the new map I now want to do. And with how powerful it is, it's just like...
I think that's going to go through some major changes, to be honest. I think Atlas is going to look very differently next league. And I think they're going to add a lot of tile sets. And I think, like, the things that you're mentioning are side effects kind of that they didn't anticipate, like sextant blocking. I don't think any of them thought about sextant blocking, honestly. I don't think that was a thing. And now that people know about that, they're going to, like, really spread out the good layouts in a way that will allow people to, you know, commit to sextant blocking something else without, like, messing up their previous sextant block. So people, will have to spend more, but they will have the possibility of running, you know, multiple maps. I don't know. I have really good expectations when it comes to the next patch and how endgame's going to look like and how the Atlas is going to evolve.
I know we scratched the surface on this topic last podcast as well. And Raiz said pretty much the same thing there. And I agree. I think that both of us are more hyped for this expansion than we were for this. Considering this is the current state we're in was new for new players, whilst the rest of us wants changes to the end game, and I think that the new expansion will actually look into that. And I'm hoping for like some sort of rotation so that we're specifically the map density needs to get attended to. In my opinion, there's just certain maps are just completely shitty in the layout, and also the pack density on top of that, whilst others are just completely brokenly overpowered for it. I just hope that they're doing some sort of rotation. Maybe like there's thousands of suggestions and solutions to this, similar to many other things in the game. So I'm not going to go into any suggestions, but I would like to see them rotate the meta, so forcing us to do different types of maps via the Atlas, via the in-game. So there won't be any specific way of playing. Like on today, you have to do shaped strands to do it effectively, or and tomorrow that map might have rotated and changed position. As something that would have been really cool to see, to actually change the pace of the game so it doesn't look the same way every time, everywhere you're playing.
See, I don't know if I like them forcing it. I think so. I'm currently in a bit of a weird thing where I'm doing it slightly suboptimally. So for 10, I've got Dunes, that's fully blocked out. 11, I've got Race Course. Then 12, I've got Shaped Ashen because I don't use Shield Charge. It's actually a really nice map. And then I've got Vault because Vault's really good money. 13, I've got Shore, Gorge, and Scriptorium because Scriptorium boss, Shav cards sell for a lot in hardcore. 14 nothing, 15 Abyss, 16 just Guardian. So when you do Beachheads, you get those dropping, you sell them off. And being able to like bounce between. So what I'll do is like, if I have sextants and I have the maps, chain run Shore. When you run out of the sextants, you drop down to the lower ones. And then if I get like 20 volts, I'll then run the 20 volts. Then if I get 20 scripts, run the 20 scripts. So like there's some hopping around like that. And I think from the strand basically being cut in half, the people who are doing that jumping around, it's quite good. If we had like multiple Atlas pages, I think it's something that Carve said ages ago, that would be great because there are a lot of people who kind of like, actually, the Exalts are rising, so I want to farm Vault right now. I want to do this. Or, oh, actually, I want to farm Doctor cards. Having different layouts, so when you want to earn the mums, you do the mums. Then when you want the XP, you do the XP. Like, that, I think, works nicely. And you need to push that more.
I think it makes sense, or like a rotating Atlas in a way, because like from a lore point of view, Shaper is technically dead. And if we're moving on with the story, and the next league isn't just like we moved on with the story when it comes to the early game, so we can kind of move on with the story when it comes to end game. Like we had Aziri, then Shaper, and now we would have something else. Like in this way, they can like, oh, everything, the Atlas is freaking out, or it turns out Shaper had a Atlas book in his pocket that he didn't tell anybody about, like something like that. So it kind of makes sense. And also, we still don't have the answer to what the fuck is going on with the Harbingers, right? Like, they were supposed to be this, like, lore thing.
Yeah, the next league will probably be, like, what were they bringing or some shit. Like, the big
exactly,
Harby will probably be the next thing. Because they did say when they released Harby, it was kind of like, there's more to come kind of thing.
Yeah, but I thought that this is going to be answered in this league, but I think they're answering in the next one. Because the Harbingers are, like... What's the exact definition of that? That they're like the vanguards of something bigger?
Yeah.
That's what Harbinger means?
Yeah. But, like, I don't know, just since there was, like, a big thing on Reddit recently about ways that you could incentivize other maps outside of just GGG do something, because most of what you guys said is like, oh, they'll probably do something. Other than just do something, like, what would you do to actually promote different maps? Be it not XP, but, like, actually will tie more div card drops to bosses, or bosses give more Zana XP, or, like, what actual system stuff would you want to see?
I don't know. For me, the only reason why things changed for me and why, like... Okay, so when I did the SSF thing, I had, like, a very specific Atlas. And then once I got to 100, I re-rolled the thing. And I was just like, oh, I can't run all these maps because I've got everything blocked. And then I was like, wait a minute, I just got to 100. I don't give a shit. And then I just ran everything. And like, I have no more blocking anywhere on my Atlas. And when I like went to the other league, now I don't have like my Atlas even filled out. So like, not giving a shit really helped me out in that way. So if they could somehow make the players less focused on min-maxing and just enjoying it, then that would work better. Because like in the past, people weren't so crazy about min-maxing, I feel like. And now like that's what PoE is. It's min-maxing for like everybody. Or before it was only a couple players.
I guess you could argue that if they're doing it long term, it is actually like fun for them. Like for me, I liked running the open layouts, dunes, pools, canyons, all that stuff. It's not, I mean, yeah, sure, it is min-max for like the playstyle of my character, but that is the most fun map for me. And you could put in, you know, triple the mobs that Crematorium has now, and I still wouldn't run it because I don't like to run into a dead end. I don't like to have to find a doorway. I like to like just kind of chill, you know, while I'm playing maps. And so I think that talks to like people actually just enjoy playing those linear maps, and there's not much that Gigi can do to, you know, just like overhaul everything so that people won't want to do that, right? Like people still just want to be lazy and stuff. So, and then also like with the sextant thing, that right now, I don't know if like you guys subscribe to the tinfoil hat theory that density was nerfed because of Xbox, so that it could like get past the specifications or whatever, so that it would run correctly.
Whoa.
But okay, this is Project PT tinfoil hat action here. But anyways, regardless of that, if you run a dunes with no sextants, right, and then you put on like 2 yellows on the left side and then 3 whites on it, right, so 5 sextants total, it's like it's so many more mobs. It's like back to like 2.6 mob density, and it's so in a single map you can notice this, and so it's. I just really hope that in the next league that they do. I think Ghazzy talked about this, so you guys support this as well. That they change the density because I mean, like
I don't think
about
they're gonna
third
change the
months.
density. I think this was like a test league because like normally it's such a big thing. They would address this. They would give their reasoning. They would address the Reddit comments. They would like post anything at all. But it's kind of like trading in this way where I think with trading they had like plans constantly and then things didn't work out. But with this, it's kind of the same thing. They're just testing what people's interaction with it is and like what people think about it. And then next league, I expect 2 density increases. I think the league itself will have something that adds density in a way, and then they will add density through like the evolving end game and the harbinger being again a person or a thing that announces or signals the approach of another. So the approach of another would be, more mobs, right? That
Or
would
a
stack
map
on top of
into
everything.
or like a map into a new world, like
Yeah,
a
maybe.
portal into a new area, like a sauna map, for example.
Who knows? I
I
think they're
mean,
gonna put like all this shit together, and it's gonna be more density than ever.
the one thing like which just worries me a little bit, and it's something you can't ever escape, is because of like the amount of difference between doing a dunes with nothing on it than a dunes rolled with pack size with sextants with +2 breach. Like especially when you add in like the breach and stuff, because there's such a big difference there. That's the thing which kind of worries me a little bit, because you kind of get like the mainstream kind of Reddit reaction to density changes, and then you get the guys who are pushing it to the extreme or whatever. Because of that, they're in a really weird place when it comes to like balancing density, because do you balance density around someone fully min-maxing, or do I balance density around the baseline? And there's no way that the vast majority of players will ever do the fully sextant block Kazana 8 breach bullshit, because it's so weird. Like, it took me, like, I was in a really weird position because I stopped playing in Prophecy, then I came back in, like, breach. So I skipped so much. So I, like, spent breach, like, okay, what is an Atlas? Legacy was, like, my first proper, like, actual league, because breach was, like, baby steps. And now I'm like, okay, I get the game again now. I know what I'm doing. All right, cool. So now I'm like doing things properly, and the last few leagues were just like catch up. And you can't balance around like, oh, everyone has sextants, because not everyone fucking has that. And that's why I think they're in such a weird situation, and why I'm very trusting of GGG, and I like always think that GG will get the best done. I know I'm very negative, but it's just kind of, I think they're in a fucking difficult situation when it comes to balancing that, because there is such a fucking big difference between not rolled, correctly rolled, and then Zone 8 breach.
No.
But then maybe sextants are too good.
Yeah, I think, well, of course they're
Possibly.
good. I don't think anyone's saying they're not too strong.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So they can keep the density that they had last league, or increase the density to something like that again next league, and then nerf sextants in a way, and that would be tied into Atlas changes in a big way. So
I'd be okay with that. More rare sextants, so that like if you want to buy them, it's way more expensive. Like red sextants are already really crazy. I don't think it's like really feasible to buy a bunch of red sextants right now.
what if they would make them soulbound?
I mean, Brevik from Diablo 2 talked about this in a video made by Riker not too long ago, where he talked about the market and whatnot when it comes to trading. There was a post about it on Reddit. Actually, that's how I saw it. He mentioned about this whole idea of moving things out of the market and making certain items that are really, really, really strong and whatnot, not destroy the game or in any way or kind. And the easiest way to do that is to make items either bind and equip or bind one pick up. Because I mean, the game is an ARPG game, which is all about finding your items. And as soon as you start making what Diablo 3 did when the auction house was there, you're in a situation where the game is more about buying your items. And I think, like specifically summoners, since we talked a lot about that today, are in a situation where you need a Bones of Full or you need a Vis Mortis, and you don't always find these, even if they're rather common, which forces you into the whole not auction house play, but you're forced into a game of trading before your build is ready to play, or you're forced to trade before you're in a situation where you're able to upgrade your gear, which is why Soul Sapphire is so good. But then again, you're still getting limited depending on what you drop. So I'm not sure. I think that Path of Exile could utilize bind items or bound items in a very cool way, and actually, force people to get these certain items. You have to actually do this type of content. They could might as well make them 100% drop chance and whatnot, as long as they're bound. I think that would be really cool.
Well, it's interesting because the interview with Riker that I saw, David Brevik was very much like he is like financially involved and business involved in this. But if you actually kept up with what he's been saying, there were a couple situations where he would be asked this question, what he thinks about the PoE economy and like trading and all that sort of stuff. This was at another time. This was on his wife's streams, and he would be very open because obviously he's not in like a business scenario in that situation. This was so long ago too that I don't think at that time he was like financially involved with Path of Exile, but they had like talks of it. And he would bring up some very interesting points, and he would very clearly say that to him it makes a lot more sense to introduce soulbound items to Path of Exile, while Chris Wilson was actually very much against it, like super against it. But also I think Chris's perspective on soulbound items stems from the fact that a lot more hardcore players were playing back then. Like the community was kind of divided, while now it's the majority being softcore players. And I think soulbound items for softcore players would be a way of moving items out of the league and giving players a goal. But it would have to be like these items would have to give the players a feel of a goal and feeling really rewarding, while not feeling like they're losing their shit because they had like so much stuff available to them previously. But they have like things of putting this into place a little bit, like specific things dropping in specific maps, divination cards. Like they could do something, but it would be such a massive step. I'm not sure.
I think that the big issue, and like for the people in chat, like, oh, nerf softcore, like the difference between the softcore and hardcore economy is fucking huge. Like the reason why a lot of people play hardcore is because of the economy. Like one of the biggest draws for me for hardcore is the economy. Like you can't just be like, you can't balance both economies equally because they are so vastly different. Like just like the notion of CuteDog saying, why didn't you just buy that +1 Lionize, which made me laugh earlier. Like there's a difference between like there are like 12 people selling it and then there's like no one even fucking has one. Like I think I have the only 6-link Lionize vision in hardcore. It's such a different economy, and it's not just like, oh, the hardcore economy dies, whatever. Like the hardcore economy is like still pretty good even now. It's just you're seeing the same people. Like very often I'll trade, it's like, oh, you again, yeah, hi bro, da da da, and you see the exact same person every day. Whereas in softcore you only really have that with like the chromatic orb guy, like, oh, he's the guy who sells chromatic orbs. Whereas with hardcore it's like, oh, that guy keeps buying my rings and whatever. So I don't really know how you can really improve one without almost having separate systems or being really careful.
It depends, because like the thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be like this all or nothing, because I see a lot of people in the chat freaking out. Like it could leave you with a decision too, where it doesn't have to be punishing. Like you get an item and it's instantly soulbound. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be something where you have to make a decision. If I equip this, it's soulbound and I can use it and it's great for my character, or I can choose to sell it. And then you still keep that trading economy going the same way it was, but you also have some items getting moved out. Because like CuteDog said before, on another episode, like you would completely scrap your characters, right? Like
Yeah.
sell
Yeah,
everything
I
and move
used
on
to.
to another. And
Yeah.
like this, you would be in a way committed to like a to a character, and when moving to another one, you would have less of a budget and then less and less and less in this way, and it kind of moves items out of the economy, preserving the length of the league in a way because it takes people slightly longer to get items,
One
maybe.
thing you could do, and this is just something which just is a suggestion, and you have to be careful because Titan forging, like all WoW players, like instantly on and cliff edge right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like fuck Titan. Okay, so D3's way of doing it was that okay, we want to like slow down progression. There's a chance that it drops slightly better. If there was maybe like a very very limited way to upgrade a piece of gear in some way, but then it was like soulbound, that's it, boom. I don't know how the fuck you would do it, and you don't want it for every piece because that fucking ruins games. But if it was like, for example, like the Pantheon of system, because the Pantheon system is nearly soulbound, right? Because it's you get the divine vessel, you kill the boss, the effect is only on your character. You go onto a different character, you don't have that effect.
Yeah.
So if they had some kind of system like that, which could be applied to an item, then it's just like I
This
don't
is
think
a
I
Vol
don't
Orb,
think I'd
though,
want it.
right?
I really don't think I'd
No,
want it.
it's the same thing because
Yeah.
I'm like in a way advocating this, but like I'm mostly talking about like arguing the perspective of Brevik, if
Yeah.
anything. But like, would I really want it? I mean,
That's
I don't
the
play
issue exactly.
like I'm bringing this up because of like
Yeah.
softcore issues and stuff like that, but I don't play softcore, so like I don't give a fuck
Yeah.
about this.
No, what do you think,
So-
CuteDog? Because you're like, well, CuteDog and Ghazzy, you guys are playing softcore right now. Like, I've never played softcore, so I'm talking out my ass, kind of. I don't know.
You're missing out, Tarky. But it's like this. I think the Soulbound thing is pretty good because, like I said before, I would always cannibalize every character. When I got bored of it, or I was just like, oh, I hit 95 and it was okay build. I'll sell it all and I'll have a bunch of money to like fund new build. What I found this league by not cannibalizing any characters is that it adds like longevity to the game. It's fantastic. Like,
That's what I was
for
thinking.
example, at Ziri, I went into I haven't done Uber at Ziri in like 2 leagues, right? So I go in with my freshly summoner on day 2. I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty fun. And then like I got like booty blasted by Uber at Ziri. She killed 2 of my specters and one of my guardian. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to like open a map in the lab and stuff. So I just switched over to my Glacial Cascade miner. And I went in and I killed her. It was like easy. I was like, oh man, that's so good. Thank God I didn't sell this gear. And when I'm farming Chayulas, it's like, okay, do I want to clear up to Chayula with this character or this character, like my Cosprey's Discharger or my Wanderer? Like you can do both, and now I can do it with a summoner, and I kill the boss with the miner, and it's like it adds a lot of it just opens up possibilities for like how you want to enjoy the game. And like for example, if I didn't have these characters, I wouldn't be doing normal and Uber Ziri, and so now I have all this new content to do. So I think that's great. So I think maybe some kind of system like you guys were talking about could be implemented to great effect. I mean, like talking to the system you're talking about is just like a Vol Orb with no downsides, right? So
What
like,
if I thought like now, what if there was like how with like masters you get them to 8, you get the special thing. What if there was like each master had like a level 9 mod or whatever, and if you put that on a rare, the rare is bound to you. It wouldn't affect uniques.
Fog Masters.
I hate masters, but like, I think that's the only way you could do it where it isn't fucked, because that's like a very niche thing, like super super niche.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe it doesn't have to be like level 9 master, but like, if there was just like one super niche mod, so like if you were playing that RF build and you want that reduced damage craft, and it's like if that was like you got a slightly better like reduced damage craft.
I mean, I don't
that was
even
on you?
like if you're doing that, I don't even think it has to be like a small thing, to be honest. Like maybe you could make it a major thing, because if you make it something where this sort of investment for that soulbound whatever thing that's only for you, like sure it wouldn't be available to everybody immediately, but it would give players a goal to aim for. And at the same time, like, dude, you've got like hundreds of other builds you can play anyway. So it would be like a goal. So I don't like it being a niche thing, I don't know if that would be great, but like it being a major thing, I would kind of like that. It's kind of like building up currency, you know, how people
Yeah.
are motivated to farm because they're building up currency for a character. This would be the same way, but you would be farming it in a like somewhere else, you know, in some
Yeah.
different fashion. Hopefully not masters.
Yeah, like I think the only reason I mention it is like I think the current master system needs like some overhaul. So it'd be like I've always been of the idea that GG's had some really fucking cool ideas and they've just not reiterated them and they've just never come back. And like if they just were to like for example Invasion 2.0 League because like oh we've done this mass expansion like to bring back like a slightly more fine-tuned masters or some shit where they like make it slightly more streamlined. I've been getting all my so I've been playing Path of Sims this league. Like my hideout looks fucking legit as fuck, and I realized something like, oh shit, I've never gotten Kata 8 because I fucking hate Kata missions. So I'm doing Kata missions, and my support dude hates me, right? So we're like going XP per hour. I'm like, whoa, stop, and he's like, what? There's a Kata mission. I just need to walk this spider real quick. Just give me 12 minutes, yo. The time it takes you to complete like the mission is longer than the last 20 maps we've done. But if reaching level 8 Kata was like, oh, and now you get this like big dick hybrid cast spell damage mod that you could put on like a dagger, you'd be like, oh shit, yeah, I want to put that on my dagger. And I think that might be a way. I don't know if I even want it in the game, but I think if you were to do it, like that's the way you go. I don't know.
You know, I'd like to see them work more with the masters. I mean, there's so many great suggestions of what they can do with masters and whatnot. Everything from rotating different stuff from Sana to Katarina having an Necronomicon for specters, but I mean we got that fixed already. But I mean there's so many different suggestions and solutions, but that's always the case as well. Whenever we go into a topic that people talk about, there are a million different comments and arguments of what they should do, what they need to do, and what's best and what's not best. And I mean usually, in my opinion, lands in a mix of 300 of those comments. In what I think it would be really best, in my personal opinion. But ultimately, it's we can sit and bitch and whine about it as much as we want to. But I think that, like you said as well, Raiz, about having a niche approach versus doing a major thing about it. I would rather see a major thing when it comes to these type of changes and actually generate more options when you're choosing a goal to do in a league. So because you can't, the leagues can't cater to everyone. I hate these hamburgers. I think this league is horrible personally. So I've been trying to hunt down a goal. I think that the build you're watching right now is, I think it's my 10th or 11th goddamn build this league, because I just don't like what I'm doing, and I finally found a goal to tweak this. And before this, I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what I was going to do with the currency and whatnot, so I planned on just throwing it away or something. But if there are more options as to what goals you can do in the game, it would, increase the longevity of the game, and it would increase the replayability outside the actual leagues, and it will attract more players because there's more things to do. And it doesn't have to be any major things. You're going to get 10 chevrons wrappings for doing this. They don't need to do that. They just need to generate more goals for people to do, so that the leagues itself and the stuff that you can do in the game would cater to more people.
But even like this, every league, everybody's like, "Yo, we need new abilities. Game boring. Need abilities. Give us skills. Give us this."
Mm-hmm.
Implement an ability that's gated by something. You need to get to a certain point. You have to farm something. You have to build up something. Maybe it's an entire community effort. Like the community has to work towards something every day. You have to do a daily or something. And then this opens up, at some point in the league. Like then you have,
Cool.
that feeling like you can work towards that. And if you really want to play that one thing, it's gated, so it increases the longevity, but once you finally get there, you're like one of those people that got there. And every league implement one or two of those abilities. And, it's kind of like challenges, except it doesn't feel like shit.
Yeah, like Ankurai World of Warcraft style.
I was about to say
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be cool. But we have items that are gated, abilities that are gated, like the Doriani's Fist. So we have things that are being enabled.
Sorry,
Wait, what?
man said Doriani's Fist.
Yeah, sorry.
what?
No, wait, what's the name of it? Hold on, what's the name of it?
No, you just said the world's worst fucking item. Like I got build of the week flashback. Sorry, bro. Like.
Isn't it called Doriani's Fist?
No, it is.
Like a lot
It's
of
just
things are
fucking
gated
shit.
behind
No,
currency, and like building up
No.
in that way. But this is introducing other things. What do
It
you
was
mean?
the ability. Stop laughing.
No, okay. No. So,
Doriani's
for anyone
Fist
who
is
watches
gated?
my stream regularly, just like EO in quiz. Anyway, so like you said, Doriani's Fist, which made me think of Build of the Week. Then that made me
That's
think
not gated.
of
That's a
Build
one
of the
chaos
Week.
item.
Then Ice Crash, EO in quiz, and you said abilities as if like there's someone who actually wants to play Dorian. Sure, Doriani's Fist. It's gated behind. Yeah, cool. Bro. Let's go.
It's gated. The ability is gated
Anyways.
by an item, so you have to actually purchase the item and whatnot. But it's really easy when it comes to this. But I understand what you're saying, Raiz, about having a progression towards something that would open it up, gated in that
Yeah,
way.
but not just currency, because right now in BoE it's like everything is currency.
I
Exactly,
can't hear you anymore. I laughed so hard I broke my speakers. I can't hear you.
Oh, I thought my microphone was muted. I was typing everything. Well, you can't
you
hear
keep
any.
talking. I'll fix it on my end. But that means they can't hear you either. Shit. Wait. It's fine. It's fine.
Wait, who can't hear any? Who?
Tarke can't hear us.
I can hear all you guys.
Hello.
I can hear everybody.
Well,
But yeah, I think like challenges are cool. I think longevity is cool. I would love for it to be something other than just currency.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that that's again generating more options in terms of goals of what you can do in a league, and it will also bring the community together more and more by having things that the community can work towards. That would be really cool to have. I really like that idea. But again, it's another situation where there will be 1,000 different suggestions and another 1,000 different ideas, and then the best way to do it would be a mix out of a couple of hundred of them.
Tarky like flip his headphones around. What is he doing?
I think he's watching the stream sound.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. Because he
Okay,
can't.
because he like flipped it. He flipped the headphones around. That didn't make much sense. I don't know. I think we're Tarky. Once we get the delay, maybe we should finish it off since
Wait. He just hovered over my name on Skype on the stream, and it said "Summoner Dude."
Nice.
For real?
So
I'm
you
going
don't
to
get dodged.
try leaving and rejoining the Skype call.
Wait, who? Oh, guy, he's gonna.
Escape.
Oh no.
He's back. Super
Tarky.
blurry.
Yo?
Now he's back.
Yo, we're
Right.
totally talking to you now.
I don't think he can hear us.
Let's close it off, dude. This is mess. Tarky. Big stream delay. Here it comes.
If
I think-
chat can hear you, chat could type, and then I could just nod for the remainder. There's only the 1 and 2 thing left to talk about. And then when you're done, just wave and I'll press end stream. How does that sound? Oh, no, I've got this. I could put my headphones into my phone, watch my stream on my phone. I'll hear what you're saying 10 seconds later, and then I can contribute to the conversation. How does that sound?
I think we should wrap it up.
I think we should wrap
Yeah,
it
I
up.
think
Yeah,
we're- I think
Tarky,
we're
Tarky's trying really hard. We were supposed to talk about the 1 week and the 2 week races code and stuff, but I think we
It's
kind
fine.
of talked
S-Fix,
about
you
it.
guys
a
got
little
this.
bit.
I'll work it out.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we have no news on it, so it's like we could do that
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
time.
it's not much to talk about.
There's
It's
1
kinda-
weeks and 2 weeks coming up, and we're gonna be maybe playing them, but we don't know what it is. Hopefully, it's gonna be like the first race and not like the last race last time, because the last race sucked and the first one was good.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what's up.
What else do we have on the topic? It was something about will we participate in them, or would we rather focus or prefer to focus on the community racing from a content creator point of view?
Oh my god,
Tough
That-
one.
that's too lengthy.
Yeah,
Too
so-
lengthy.
Maybe
There's some
Chad
races
can
going on
discuss
today,
that.
right?
Yeah, there's
There's
races
some
today.
events today.
So, on another topic, then, whilst we wait for Tarky to fix this, CuteDog, what did you eat on McDonald's today?
Oh, dude, I just woke up. I haven't eaten anything. Drank Frescas. I ate a little bit of this chocolate bar. But I'm gonna get the buttermilk chicken tenders
Turkeys?
With a new sauce, right?
with the signature sauce. It's delicious. Yeah.
Exactly.
Turkeys and
Dude, let's wrap
He's
it up.
not fixing anything.
One more announcement for those the people that don't know. December 1st, new expansion. Chris has said it's going to be on the same level as Atlas of Worlds and Ascendancy. So that's like huge, right? I was jazzed about Atlas of Worlds. I was jazzed about ascendancy, and if this one is equally as big, it is definitely something to be hyped about, not just something like, oh, it might be good. I think it's going to be really good. Comes
Mhm.
along with the Challenge League. Ooh, just so good.
Oh.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm hyped.
Who closes this off? Tarky, you got this, or are we
Tarky, close
doing
it
it?
off.
I think Tarky can
I
close
think
it
we're
off.
good. Yeah, he'll hear us. He can hear us.
You can give us 10 seconds.
He's just laughing.
Okay, I think you've stopped talking now because of stream delay, so I think I'm now doing the outro. So okay, so guys, thank you. Oh, I can now hear myself. Okay. Yeah, so guys, thanks for Baeclast. The next one will be in 2 weeks' time. Sorry for the slightly scuffed ending.
Oh my God.
This is golden actually.
Bring it home,
Just
Tarky.
cut that.
I guess that's it. All right, bye guys.
Thanks for
Thanks for having-
watching. Appreciate you.
Bye
We
bye boys.
apologize
It's such
for
a wave.
Tarky.
Yeah.
He'll get his meds later.
Okay, solved. I dropped the Skype call. Okay, it's done. I dropped Skype. Okay, easy fix, easy fix. I can hear myself. That's really weird. It's really weird hearing yourselves 10 seconds later. Easy. Okay, so that was interesting. I don't know what the fuck I did to my speakers, by the way. Like, okay, so what happened from my point of view? From my point of view, man said Doriani's fist. I started laughing. Then Skype said, like, your speakers are dead. I then tried changing my speakers round. That did nothing. So then we tuned in on the phone. And the phone is the hard carry. So yeah, we solved it. So yeah, I need to work out who's going to be streaming next. And then I'll throw them a host. So let me message those brains. I mean, okay, like, this is the one thing I'm gonna say, chat. Like, this is the one thing I'm gonna say. Right? You don't get this shit anywhere else, yeah? You don't get this shit anywhere else. So, you know, like, you enjoyed that. You fucking enjoyed that. And I'm gonna have a lot of fun trying to work out where I cut the outro on YouTube, yo. Bontent, homie. Easy Bontent. I can still hear myself. That's so fucking... That's the content you come here for? Exactly, yeah. Fucking feels good, man. Yo, Inquisitor, and he's pissed, by the way. She. You have to admit, though, you had to admit. EO in quiz, by the way. Oh, this is worse. Okay, so now I'm experiencing what you guys experience. Because I'm just seeing Tarkies listening to Tarkies. This is fucked. Okay, so my boy Raiz is on now. So I'm going to host my boy Raiz. The touch of God. The fucking touch of autism, mate. Jesus Christ. I'm really looking forward to hearing about Raiz bitch about that. Jesus fuck. Yeah, so I'm Tarky. Thanks for the shit, boys. I'll put it up on YouTube, and the next one will be in like fucking 2 weeks or some shit. Peace. Fuck, bro.